Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of the Daily Grind. I'm your host, 30 and Still Gaming, and on today's show, my camera is blown out. So let me fix that for you. On today's show, we're going to be talking about lots of different topics. There's one topic I kind of want to talk about because all of a sudden, there's something I posted in Discord just maybe about a half hour ago. Let me see what time it was when I posted this. Not even. Oh, it was over an hour ago. So, Pirate Nation, okay, had this post, which I have to show you in Discord now. Okay, I have to show you in Discord now, which is right here, so you can see that it was on Twitter. As you can tell, there, past tense was on Twitter. So, Pirate Nation put out that Dragon Age Veilguard has an entire, nearly 2-minute long cutscene on how to apologize if you use the wrong pronouns or misgender. Okay. Now, if you click on this, it's now deleted. Now, I don't know if it was deleted by Pirate Nation. I don't know if it was deleted by BioWare or EA. But what I do know is it wasn't a clip that was in the game. They pulled it from the actual game. Okay? They pulled it from the actual game. So it was a clip, a 2-minute long clip, and I'm going to talk about this in just a second, that they removed it from the game, which is probably a smart decision, but now it's leaking online to show you that people say that they're not trying to lecture you. They're not trying to push anything. It's all in your head. You're just sexist. You're just racist. You're misogynistic. Okay? They're not doing it, but apparently they are, right? And why? Right? And here's the thing. It's the victim card. If, and again, I'm speculating here. If EA removed it because it's up there and EA is allowed to do it, why? Because you were putting something in a video game and you wanted to promote that in the video game. So then people are promoting it in the video game, okay? And yet now you're taking down things that people are promoting for you in a video game. Just virtual signaling is what it is. But it is what it is. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. It's an interesting turn of events here from Veilguard coming out today. And it's getting good reviews, or is it getting good reviews? I don't know. You be the decide of that. You choose what game you want to play and what it is. But I'll tell you when people are preaching to you about certain things where it's like, why? Why are you doing that? Was it removed before 1.0? I'm not sure. All I saw was Pirate Nation's tweet this morning saying this was a 2-minute long thing, and I was like, well, what is it? And I listened to it, and I went, holy hell. Did you see the clip? Did anyone see the clip of that video that is now removed off of Twitter? You just said it's not in the game, though. I said I believe they removed it from the game. I don't know, Vandal. I haven't played the game myself. Based off of what the tweet was, right? Now, the question is, it was in the game. Obviously, there's a 2-minute long cutscene of what it is. Okay, so someone made a choice, probably a smart choice, to remove it from the game. But at the same time, it was going to be in that game, and at the last second, they pulled it. Potentially. How's everyone doing? Good morning. What's going on, Z? What's going on, Ward? Flips, Stealth Gaming, Hilly, Mo, Dolphin, Wonder Rose, Robert Jones, Big Mo, Dustin, Vandal, Altern, good morning. Worlds, good morning. Stell says, yeah, I watched it. About telling people how to apologize for something. Oh, sorry, World says that. As Stealth said, I'm watching it. I'm glad they removed it from the game. Yeah, so those of you that didn't see it, it was talking about misgendering somebody. And then one of the characters felt bad about misgendering. So she started doing push-ups. And why she was doing the push-ups. Because she felt bad for misgendering somebody. Okay. Now, obviously, Dragon Age is a fantasy game. There's been 3 games before it. There's been bisexual characters in the game and whatnot, and that's one thing than the other. A fantasy game is a fantasy game. And when you start taking real world events and putting it into a fantasy game, it no longer becomes fantasy, right? I don't care if it's 2% of the game. I don't care if it's 20% of the game. It's just strange to me because I don't start the show off telling you that I'm a white heterosexual man. Okay? Because it has no bearing on what the show is, right? You come here just to watch the show as I read news stories and we have conversations. Okay? I'm not going to lecture you about religion. I'm not going to lecture you about politics. Okay? It's just people want to play the game and that's what they want to do, right? So it's just strange. I wasn't going to play this game not because of these reasons, because the reasons is it doesn't interest me, right? I didn't play the last Inquisition one. I wasn't going to play this one. But at the same time, when we watched the Skill Up review the other day, was it like Tuesday? Yeah. They completely removed the option in the game where you get actually choice, right? Right? You have a choice to make yourself transgender in the game, which is cool, right? But you have no choice of actually role-playing as a bad character or a good character. And Skill Up broke it down like there was always someone in the HR department in the room as people were doing dialogue, right? Nothing can be where you hurt anyone's feels, right? It's a game where there is no kind of drama or any kind of big decisions made. The only big decision, they said there was two moments in the entire game, but you really couldn't even you couldn't pick a bad choice. And that to me is the fundamental problem with BioWare in the last couple games, right? Other games are doing this as well, where you just it feels like you have an option, but you actually don't have an option in a role-playing game. It's no matter what you pick, it's the same direction, just said in different ways, right? You can't be mean, you can't be neutral, you can only be nice. Go on, Jason. Oh, it was 100% a lecture, Jason. 100% a lecture. East Vandal says, are they not allowed to edit their own game? They edited something out that you didn't want to see. Sounds like a win. Nope. But we're not talking about it being in the game. We're talking about it as it was at one point in the game, and it's lecturing somebody about something in real life. In real life. In a fantasy game. So somebody down the road, who knows when they pulled it? It could have been in the game, and I think it was in the game because some of the reviewers that were talking about it or talking about the game said there was a quest line. It was a quest line that people would, and I don't know if it was this specific one that they said they would make a big deal of. Okay. So maybe it was in the game and they took it out at the last second and then it got leaked or whatnot. But it's just stupid. Why do it in the first place? Why even make a scene like that lecturing somebody? Altern says, but I need to know, 30. Pineapple and pizza? If you like it, I would cancel my sub. Well, I hate to tell you, Altern. It was nice knowing you. I do like pineapple on pizza. So, good seeing you. Have a good one. Yeah. Go on, Super Dave. Happy Halloween. Oh, I forgot. It is Halloween today. It is Halloween today. So we might start the show tonight a little late for Generation X Gaming because I might have to go trick-or-treating. I don't know what time I'll be back. It's not like I might have to go trick-or-treating. I am going to go trick-or-treating with my son. I just don't know what time we'll be back. So we might start the show off a little late tonight. Jones says they're cowards for removing it. You're going to preach. Well, here's another thing, right? Here's the way I look at stuff, right? if you're gonna preach something like that and you're using, right, because we know the director is a transgender person openly, they've said this, right? If you're going to preach to somebody and you're going to use your own personal take on something and put yourself in a video game, you can't get mad, right? You can't get mad if people start pushing back on that and saying they're attacking you, because you took yourself, put yourself in that game, like literally put yourself in that game, okay, to try to educate or whatever. And when people push back on it, they might take it personal because they don't like it in the game, so they're saying they might not like them, okay? And I don't think the two are related, okay? I think that if you're going to insert yourself into something, then, hey, stay strong. It's lonely on the hill sometimes, right? It's lonely on the hill. If you stand up there and you want to preach to people, then preach to people. But using that and then removing it because people criticize it and stuff like that, that seems a little hypocritical, doesn't it? Yeah, you can't put the canned shit on there, Sarge. Gotta be real. Z says pineapple sausage is good. Oh yeah, get barbecue pizza with the ham and pineapple and barbecue sauce. Fucking delicious. You know, if you don't like it, it's okay. I'm not forcing you to eat my pizza. I never understood that. When someone's like, it's this guy, I can't eat it. Well, it's all right. You're not eating it. Yep. See you later, Altern. It was nice. It was nice meeting you. East Vandal says writers and artists always edit their own work. Well, that's not true. That's not true. That's why they have editors separated from the people that write the actual thing. So not all artists edit their own work, especially in an industry where it's a team making a video game. I mean, they put it in the game, Vandal, and I'm not talking about that scene. Like, I'm talking about the whole thing. There's dialogue options. There's top scars. There's everything. I mean, they're in, but they're like, that's a little too much. Maybe. They got cold feet at the end. My whole thing is, right? My whole thing is just make a game and sell a game, right? If you're going to preach, don't get mad because you're lecturing somebody in a video game that people wanted to pay you money for, okay? I'm not paying you money to be lectured. If I want to go to a lecture, I'll go pay to go to a lecture. I just want to play a video game. I just want to play a video game. But there's other things in the game that lecture you, just not as absurd as that. Did you see the video, Vandal? Did you watch that video? Like, that video was absurd. There's still lecturing going on in the video game. D says it doesn't suck when someone in the party wants all the weird stuff on the pizza, but then they eat the plain pepperoni and take it away from others. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, Super. Eclipse says it's just like Spider-Man 2. They got rid of all the LGBTQ stuff in the game for the other regions. I wonder why. It has nothing to do with the right money. Right, and same thing with Disney. Disney does the same thing, right? They'll preach to you that you're sexist and racist because you don't like a character in the movie, but then they'll remove that character from the poster, or they'll limit the character showing up on screen, or they take the character like Finn in Star Wars, who was like this big on the poster, and then they'll shrink him down to this and like shove him off to the corner. But they'll tell you that you're racist, but the company is just using them to propaganda stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Like it's so ridiculous. It's like if you stand so strong behind it, if you make your during Black History Month, okay, and you put the fist on the air in your profile and stuff, but you don't protect those people in any other time of the month, just History Month, or when it's Pride History Month, okay, where they protect them and they're like, oh yeah, we're behind you, and then they take the character and they shrink it down and put it off to the corner and they're like, oh yeah, well, those film sales would have been hindered by that, so we have to remove it. It's like, so are you for that or are you against that? I'm confused, because all I'm calling out is the bullshit of them, virtual signaling and propaganda stuff, and yet everyone's like, no, you have a problem, Mike, because you think this is wrong. It is wrong, right? It is wrong, 100%. They say they're behind things, but then they backtrack and they're like, no. So which one is it? Are you using it for marketing purposes, so you pretend that you're behind these organizations or these groups of people or right? Or are you just bullshitting? I don't know. What's going on, Dark Taco? What's going on, Kraken? Exactly, Kraken. It's just ridiculous. On today's show, now that we're 16 minutes in, we're going to be talking about Call of Duty Black Ops 6, biggest Call of Duty launch ever, sets new single-day Game Pass sub record. This is from IGN. We're going to talk about Sony. I don't know why this page is not. We're going to talk about Sony shuts down studio behind Concord less than 2 years after buying it. We're going to talk about Ubisoft CEO insists that X-Defiant strategy is the core and it's plummeting financial performance. And we're going to talk about Microsoft gaming revenue keeps going up even though the hardware sales are down. And then we'll talk about Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has good news for Xbox Series S owners. You guys like what I do? I talk about this news topics, videos, different things, Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning to about noon Eastern. If you like it, hit that like button. If you don't like it, hit that dislike button. And I'll see you on the next one. And then if you'd like to go above and beyond, become a member as little as $5. We do appreciate you. East Vandal says, I remember when the black folks weren't in games for decades. Now we're glad this is anti-DEI BS. Wasn't going on back then. Geez. Do you know why it wasn't a big deal? I don't know how old you are, Vandal. I'm assuming you're like around my age, right? Right? Personally, me growing up, there wasn't racism against any of my friends or anything like that. Like, I had black, Hispanic, Chinese, right? Colombian, Puerto Rican. We all got along. It was amazing, right? Imagine just playing a video game. If there was a black character, a white character, a girl character, right? It doesn't matter if I was playing as a dog. Doesn't matter if I was playing as a dolphin. Okay, we were just playing games. We were just playing games. No one was preaching to each other. No one was saying they were racist or anything like that. Now in the real world, right? Grown-ups at the time, sure, there's racism and stuff like that. There's always going to be racism. Okay, but to start lecturing and preaching to people that are playing video games that you don't like it because you're racist and sexist and misogynistic, completely absurd. Completely absurd. Okay. Right? I understand that people want to be represented in a video game, right? But there's a difference between taking a character who was and then change it to is, okay? Just so it fits that persona of stuff. That's it. Look, I can't tell you the people around you are not assholes. Are there assholes in the world? 100%. Okay. So, When someone called you the N-word, do you think I've never been called a name before in my entire life? I don't have a word compared to that. Maybe cracker, guinea. Let's see. Spanish people, they're called like spics and everything else, right? There are slurs out there for every single race and nation out there, right? Like this happens in the real life, right? It's true. Jamook. There's so many slurs for everything out there. You could let it affect you, or you could just move along from those assholes that do stuff like that. Because there's always going to be assholes out there that do stuff like that. But is 99% of the world racist, sexist, misogynistic, or is it the 0.1%? Everyone has slurs. Everybody. Yeah, everyone is racist now. Everybody. You just bringing it up as racist. Me talking about this right now, someone can clip it out, and I'm racist. Because nobody actually wants to talk about anything. They just want to point fingers. Calling someone Concord is basically a slur. Yeah, Ron. Well, I'm not going to go down the list of all the slurs in the book, Kraken. Type into Google. Type into Google. And I guarantee you, you've heard those slurs before, and you never even batted an eye. All right. So what do you guys want to talk about first? You want to talk about Call of Duty? You guys want to talk about Sony shutting down? Want to talk about Ubisoft? Or you want to talk about Microsoft? Ubisoft, Microsoft, lots of softs. Hater says Microsoft. COD, Microsoft. COD, because I'm addicted. Yeah, I'm not even going to play. After I'm done with the campaign, I'm probably not going to even touch Call of Duty. Maybe we'll play zombies. Maybe. Gaku to Papa. Already prestige last night. My God. Dark Taco hasn't slept in 2 days. He's on like a Red Bull or a week. I guess it's been a week. It's been out for a week. He hasn't slept in 1 week. Dolphin says some kid was begging me not to kill him in free for all. Yeah. Please, mister. Don't kill me. Was he a squeaker? Was he a squeaker, Dolphin? Dark Taco says, called in to work Monday and Tuesday. It's been rough. He's like, I'm loving it. I love it. I'm loving Black Ops. It's so good. Yes, he had to be been about 9 years old. In other news, my son was playing Call of Duty Black Ops this weekend. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. And he was saying, please don't kill me, sir. What happened? Wait a minute. Was that you? What if it was your son against Magic? It wasn't, because he doesn't play that. But that would have been hilarious, wouldn't it have been? Can you imagine? It's a small world. It's a small world, Altern. Can you imagine? All of a sudden, I hear my son in the other room going, please, sir, please don't kill me. Can we team up? And then all of a sudden, Dolphin comes in and says, there was like a 9 or 10-year-old telling me, please don't kill me. Can we join? Can we team up? I'll be like, that would have been fucking hilarious. I'll be honest. Salty says, headline, my son was playing Black Ops 6. It's claimed. That's right. You got to say it's claimed. I know. All right. First story. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, biggest Call of Duty launch ever. Ever. If you thought it was ever before, it's ever now, right? Is there another thing like ever in 2024 on a Tuesday, right? Sets single-day Game Pass sub record. Okay. If you guys like what I do here, we just cover news stories, have conversations, give you my thoughts and opinions off the news article. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. Okay. So, Microsoft CEO Nadella says that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 was the biggest Call of Duty release ever, setting a new one-day opening weekend. Here it is. It's the biggest, right? It's the biggest Call of Duty ever released, set new day one in opening weekend records as sales on PlayStation Steam jump on 60% compared to 2023's Modern Warfare 3. Game Pass also benefited from Call of Duty's release, setting a new record for the amount of new subscribers in a single day. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 launched last week, saw the strongest concurrence on Steam that outperformed Modern Warfare 2 and 3. Okay, the leap in subscribers would seem to validate Xbox's big bet in launches of Black Ops 6 straight into Game Pass, giving the service a shot in the arm is the midst of its recent growth struggles. Analysts predict that Black Ops 6 could boost Game Pass subscribers between 2.5 and 4 million, but at the cost of traditional sales. But for now, at least Black Ops 6 seems to be doing just fine amidst the strong overall reviews, though it currently sits at a mixed on Steam, owning in complaints about multiplayer lag in map balance. Okay, it says, quote, thank you for all the players around the world for making Black Ops 6 the biggest Call of Duty launch ever. Our goal from the start has to bring great games to as many players as possible wherever they are, however they play. Call of Duty GM Matt Cox said in a statement, Black Ops 6 is an amazing game, and its response for the Call of Duty community has been incredible. This is only in the beginning. Nuketown is only days away from Season 1, is right around the corner, and we're just getting started. Adele announced that the results during today's Microsoft earnings, which is also usual focus heavily on the company's AI and cloud-based innovatives. According to Microsoft, Activision Blizzard helped drive a 43% rise in gaming revenue, while Xbox content and services grew 61%, and Xbox hardware dropped 29%. Okay. In the wake of a successful release, Black Ops 6 looks to continue in momentum with the release of Nuketown later this week. A wealth of content is also planned in Season 1, which arrives on November 14th, including new maps, new modes, and more. It says, we wrote our review of Black Ops 6 campaign, an excellent string of missions, and offer a variety of flexibility to come together to make the best Call of Duty campaign in many, many, many years. I added another many, claimed. But Black Ops 6's fantastic return to form of the series, allowing the designers at Raven to delve deeper into the bag of tricks and keep guessing every turn. So, it looks like, now obviously we don't know the actual numbers, okay? And just like I tell you about when people say, oh, the Sony handheld is selling like hotcakes, what's the numbers? And then later, months later, we see the numbers. Astrobot's number 2 on the list. What's the numbers? What's the numbers? What's the numbers, right? You're so excited to tell us that it's the biggest thing ever. What's the numbers? Okay. Everyone else might get fooled by the titles of Call of Duty, greatest thing. What's the numbers? If you're so excited, be like Space Marines. Tell us how many sales. Be like Palworld. Tell me how many sales. Be like Helldivers. Okay. Tell us the sales. Tell us the number. Okay. Until they tell us the number, I'm going to say, okay, great. Fantastic. Now, for those people that think that, I love how they have to try to jab it in here when they say 2.5 to 4 million, but the traditional cost of sales, but now, you know, at the cost of traditional sales. So they're saying the company that didn't own Microsoft, or I'm sorry, the company that didn't own Activision, that owned Call of Duty, that didn't make the money off of Call of Duty before, is now owning Call of Duty and saying that now they're missing out on traditional sales. But yet they're making more sales on the back end, which they didn't have before. Do you see how people like to sway things, right? Like Microsoft didn't own Call of Duty before. So when they sold a Call of Duty on Xbox, they were getting the 30% or whatever the hell it was. Okay. And that was it. And it wasn't on Game Pass. But now they own the company, and now they're getting the 70% of everything from everywhere. Okay. And they're getting the $20 on Game Pass for that month or 2 months or whatever it is. Remember, it's a live service game, right? It's going to constantly update and grow. They have the Nuketown coming in. So I always find it hilarious that people are like, oh, yeah, they're going to lose money. Do you understand that they didn't own that? They weren't making any of that money before, and now they're making all of that money from all the different platforms. We're talking people that bought it off Battle.net, people that bought it on Steam, people that bought it on PlayStation, people that bought Game Pass. Like, it makes no sense to me. But, you know, reporters will report. They'll report, and I don't know what they're reporting anymore, but they'll report those numbers. Okay? Until they come out and tell you that Call of Duty has sold 30 million copies on top of 5 million, right? Because if that number comes out that they sold almost or close to what they sold before of Call of Duty games, on top of the Game Pass subscriber numbers, which if it is 2.5 to 4 million, then what? Then what are they going to say? Okay. But if the number, let's say, shrinks by 4 million or 5 million, okay, and let's say instead of 30 million, they only sold 26 million copies, okay, but then they had a 4 million increase in Game Pass, would be like, see, they lost the money. But it's like, are you okay? But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think of Call of Duty Black Ops 6? Are you enjoying it? Are you playing the campaign? Are you just playing the multiplayer? Are you like Dark Taco in chat, who hasn't slept and called out of work for a week? I hope no one at his job is watching this. He's been sick the last couple of weeks, just to let you know. All right. Let me know in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you'd like to watch some of our other videos, we appreciate you. See you on the next one. Dolphin says, he kept saying, please, let's just join. You were just smiling and laughing and kept killing him over and over, didn't you, Dolphin? Admit it. Admit it. You were trolling a 9-year-old kid, you son of a... Did you say get good, kid? Did you say get good? Altern says, hey, Altern, you're still here? You eat pineapple on pizza, don't you? Yeah, you do. You're just a closet case. I got you. Every year, the biggest launch ever. It's claimed. It's claimed. Dolphin says, what's your favorite gun, Dark Taco? Well, you're asking the wrong question, Dolphin. The question to Dark Taco is, what gun haven't you used yet? Because he's probably used them all. It would be easier for him to label the ones that he hasn't used than he did use. Or what's his favorite? Jax82 says, did they forget Xbox was only getting 20% of COD before this? Yeah, it's ridiculous. They're like, they're going to lose out on money. You know that the greater than, less than type of thing? It's like, do they understand how that works? They were getting the less than before, and now they're getting the greater than. World says the game-breaking records actually helps prove that we were just talking about. They added a non-binary character, and it did extremely well. It proves that if it's not pushed, that nobody really cares. Exactly right. Exactly right, Worlds. We just don't want to be preached to. If you want to put something in the game and someone wants to make something, that's fine. Nobody cares. But they're literally lecturing to you in some games. And if you don't like it, they're like, rah. So dumb. You're welcome, Taco. Until COD gets a new engine, I'll probably never play another one. Well, I mean, I'll tell you what. I haven't played in 14 years. And if I don't play another one in another 14 years, I would be okay. That's not shitting on the game. That's just telling you that I just don't like COD anymore. I just don't like Call of Duty. I'm enjoying myself in the campaign. I am enjoying myself in the campaign, but I could go another 14 years and not even care. Billy says, I'll play the new COD at Christmas. This Christmas or next Christmas? I was going to wait for Indie before picking up Game Pass for a month. Papa says, what Magic is saying is I'm thinking about the Battlefield Friends, knife to the face. Knife to the face, yeah. Yeah. Robert Jones says, I want COD to go away so other first persons can live. Can I call Duty lobbies is what makes boys men? I mean, I cut my teeth or grinded my teeth in SOCOM. Let me tell you. I cursed a little bit when I was a youngster, okay? But I didn't hear half the words in my vocabulary until I got to the SOCOM lobbies. When I got to the SOCOM lobbies, man, you want to hear racist stuff, that's where you go. When you got into online play, holy shit. The mouths. And the worst is the squeakers. Right? Like I was in my late teens. Okay? When that stuff came out. Okay? And the amount of filth that came out of kids that were under the age of like 9 or 10, and then the kids that were talking to them, or the adults that were talking to them, like, my God. They would cry now. They would cry. World says, I've watched some videos of zombies, but I haven't played it yet. For zombie fans in here, is it really back to being fun again? Supposedly that's what it is. Everyone's telling me it's a lot of fun. Chris says, I'm beginning to think that the modern audience of gamers exists behind shill game journalists and YouTuber gamers that bought Veilguard. It'll be interesting to see what's happening with Veilguard. Real quick, to touch on that, right? The Veilguard reviews of certain outlets that are underneath the same umbrella of the same person that owns the media are all positive, right? They're all owned by the same. There's like seven companies owned by, I believe it's like Dave Media or something like that. All have positive reviews, okay? Then the ones that are outside, like neutral sources or people that are not attached to the bigger organizations, have mixed reviews. Okay? And again, I'm not here to ever shit on anyone's parade. I just point out things that are here, and if you want to buy a game, pre-order a game, which I don't recommend for most games because they're broke, buggy, and unfinished, Veilguard, Digital Foundry came out and said it's actually really solid as far as stability and frame rates and all the other stuff. So congratulations. Congratulations. They made a game and sold the game, right? So regardless if you like it because of the stuff that's happening, okay, the game itself is a stable game, which all games should strive to be that, okay? So good for them for coming out and having a solid, stable game, okay? That's the standard, okay? But now they have to make a good game, but they fucked this up because they're preaching on this side. It's like, just make a game. Right? Just make a game. Just put it out there. You can put stuff in the game. Just don't push it and shove it in people's faces. Star says, which Christmas? Altered says, yeah, 30. I'm still here. There's no way to get rid of me. I'm like a cockroach. Cockroaches die, right? You ever see those water bugs? They're like water beetles. They look like cockroaches, but they have a hard shell, and their front legs come into a little, like, pinchers. Those things are fucking indestructible. Those things you can hit with a baseball bat, and those things they're like zombies. They're like the zombie equivalent of bugs. They just keep coming at you. I used to work at an amusement park, and I used to clean the pools and stuff as a maintenance guy. When I was like 17 years old, and these things they run super fast, they fly, and they also dive into water, and they shoot through the water like a torpedo. Okay, shoot through the water like a torpedo, and I would have these, like, waders on, and they would pinch through it, and their freaking claws would pierce through the super thick rubber. Man, I was terrified of these things. Like, they're like this big. I'll see if I can find a picture later. That is what you are, Altern. That's what you are. You are an indestructible water bug. It's not even a water bug. I forget what it's called. Sarge says, whoa, SOCOM lobbies. Put your big boy pants on. Yeah, no, it was bad. But at the same time, it was fantastic. Madden lobbies are up there as well. See, I've never played really on... Every time I played Madden online, Ron, I would destroy someone and they would quit within the first, like, I don't know, first 3 minutes of the first quarter. They're like, and they would just leave. I stopped playing online because it's the worst experience. Not even talking to anybody. Just people quitting all the time. Roko says, Zombies is so good. I have a safe game right now. Save game. Sorry. Save game? Save game right now at level 19 with the ray gun double pack a punch. Dolphin says you can't say shit like that anymore. They have AI voice shit that will also ban you from. Oh, that's right. You really can't go in hard into that because you're being monitored. You're being watched. If you're watching me, I see you, YouTube. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. So it's a level 70 cockroach. Yeah, no, it's crazy. Let me see if I can find what this thing. Hold on. This thing is, yeah, this is it right here. Giant water bug. Okay, this thing is gigantic for bugs, right? Right, that's what this thing. Right, it's this thing right here. Cockroach versus water bug. Okay, cockroaches are one of the most feared insects. Right, they're also commonly confused with insects called the water bug. So there's also often referred to as oriental roach as water bugs. Though the two insects resemble each other, there are many differences, and many of them keep in mind that the water bugs are not pests in the same way that roaches are. To better understand that this type of pest is also maybe dealing with in Central Florida, some of it's important to learn how they differentiate in the cockroach versus the water bug. Cockroach exterminators, okay, and break down to look for when it comes to roaches. Is a water bug a cockroach? No. This thing, I don't know. True to their name, water bugs live in the water, and the majority of the time they're typically in ponds and lakes. Water bugs also hunt and kill other insects and small fish. They kill small fish, okay? They also minister a painful bite. Yeah, these things are, they're brutal, man. Brutal. Okay? They also have wings in an X shape, and these wings enable them to fly from one body of water to another. These things are crazy. Okay. They're like this big. I shit you not. I gotta get when we go down the rabbit hole like this, I gotta get a clip of Alice in Wonderland falling down a rabbit hole, because we go down a rabbit hole all the time. It looks like a DLC of a cockroach. No, it's upgraded. It's an endgame. Yeah, that water bug's an endgame. It's like souped up. It moves extremely fast. Right? Extremely fast. It's a superhero of cockroaches. Let's put it that way. If someone made a comic book of water bugs like the Teenage Ninja Turtles, that'd be kick-ass. These things are amazing. They're smart too, by the way. So I used to try to kill them with a baseball bat because at the amusement park we were at had a batting cage, and they would all come around. And when you try to hit them, they brace for impact, and their shell is like hard like a turtle shell. Okay, and they just brace. They see it coming, and they go boop, and they go to the ground, and it hits. And when they're done bracing for impact, they will come at you aggressively. They're like, you trying to kill me? And they come at you, and you're like, ah! Yeah, it's whatever, Z. You work indoors. Oh man, if they ever mutate and get bigger than what they are now, I'm out. I'm out. I'll stay for hurricanes. I'll leave for giant bugs. Artemis says, reason 987 not to move to Florida. I'd like to know the other 986 reasons not to move to Florida. Yeah, but mandible claws and yeah, it's crazy. They're ridiculous. Yeah, we're gonna have to get. Let me see. Let's see. We're gonna have to find a clip for it. We'll find one. If someone can actually find it, send me a good clip of Alice or the rabbit going down the rabbit hole. Put it in the feedback channel in Discord. Yeah, so going back to Call of Duty. Floridians are smart. You never go in the water. Yeah, and if you are in the water, make sure you're moving fast, like skiing, kneeboarding, and don't fall off. Don't fall off. yeah. Just make sure you're moving fast. They'll get out of your way. But as soon as you stand still in your water, you better swim to the boat as fast as you can. Did you see Worlds? Have you seen Chris Hemsworth had years ago posted a picture of a spider, I shit you not. Like the body's like this and the legs are out like this and it's just up on his wall. And he said he found it in his house one day and he said he just closed the door. And he says he lives there now. Now obviously he probably doesn't live there. He probably sold the house. But can you imagine? Like, I have spiders that are like this, or like, with like the legs, maybe they're like this, the size of like, sometimes maybe the size of the coaster, like with legs and body, right? This thing is the size of like a dinner plate, bigger than a dinner plate. 2 dinner plates. Altern says crocodiles take 900 of those 987 reasons. Sinkholes, hurricanes, and alligators are on the list. Well, sinkholes can happen anywhere. Okay. Hurricanes are anywhere across the East Coast. Typhoons on the West Coast. Okay. Alligators, they leave their shit. They leave you alone. Every once in a while, they'll be on a golf course. You hit them with a ball. It's fun. Okay, you stay out of their house, they'll stay out of yours for the most part. Just make sure you look in the pool before you dive in. That's all. If you don't have a screened-in porch or a fence, make sure they can climb fences, so it doesn't really matter. Just make sure you check the pool before you jump in. Like checking a gun and make sure it's not loaded. You know what I mean? Same thing. Elle says, the Florida Everglades are the only part of the world with both alligators and crocodiles. I had to we filmed a movie one time in the Everglades. It was actually a movie on border control. And we were shooting in Florida to make it look like Mexico's border. There was a spot out in the Everglades that looked like the border. And we had to go out there. And the only way out to this location, they had to scout it by helicopter. And then we had to get out there by airboats and kayaks and canoes. We had all the gear inside of this thing. And then we had to push out. And it was about a 15-minute, 20-minute trip by boat to get out to the section. Now, we're filming there all day. Okay? Well, we filmed there all day. But then we were leaving at night. Okay? Well, we have these big, giant lights, right? And once the lights went off, and we all had our headlamps on, you just saw thousands of eyes staring at you. And we were like... So we had to have guys with laser pointers, okay? And they just take the laser pointers and shine them towards the gator's eyes, and they'll freak out, and they'll go back in the water. It was terrifying. Then when we got back in the boat, we're in canoes, and you have to go by them, and they're in the water. So you're taking the oar and you're going past them with the oar, pushing near them or off of them and whatnot. And sometimes, if the alligator is hungry enough, they'll try to tip the fucking boat over. Right? Didn't happen that night, but they'll swim real fast towards a kayak or a canoe and hit it to try to knock it over and to knock people or objects or anything in the water. Yeah, it's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Right, Jones? It's in his house now. I will send him the title transfer. Yeah, he joked about it. He's like he lives there now. What's on, Makoki? You missed a lot so far this morning. You're going to have to go back either after the show, or if you want to go back and listen at 1.5 speed, you'll catch up. He says iguanas are getting extremely friendly. It's like seagulls around South Florida. I was just in South Florida yesterday, Z, and at the cemetery, because I had to go down for someone's funeral, right? Right when we were leaving, I'm with Sarge, and Sarge goes, "Is that a bunny rabbit? What did you say, Sarge? Was it a bunny rabbit or a bird?" Right? And we're like looking, and we see this thing in the grass, right? And it looked like it was a bunny rabbit. But then all of a sudden we looked at it, and he goes, "Oh no, that's an iguana." This fucking thing, I shit you not, Z. The body, the head of this iguana was like this. Okay? Had to be about 5 to 6 inches long. And then the body was like this. I was like, holy Christ. I was like, what is happening? Like a dragon. Baby dragon. Jones says, nope. Nope. Well, be fair, Jones, they paid me a lot of money to go out there in the Everglades and push off with equipment, so I'm okay. It'd be like, yeah, I'm fine. Nothing happened. Nothing happened at all when I was out in the Everglades. Everything's fine. I was just rowing out there. I was just pushing out there, and it was fine. We had all the gear in the boat. Everything's good. Good time. I got paid a lot. You guys have never seen my lower half. I only have one leg. But I got paid, so. All right, so next story. You guys want to talk about Sony shutting down the studio of Concord? You want to talk about Ubisoft, or you want to talk about Microsoft? Artist says, I just remember when I was doing homeowner's insurance, I would write Florida. A man was asleep in his house, and a sinkhole swallowed him up. Never been seen again. Yeah. New fear unlocked. New fear unlocked. Poll it, baby. All right, I'll make a new poll. Let me make a new poll. Third one. There you go. Next story. Microsoft, Sony Concord, or Ubisoft. That's right. Standing desk with one leg. It's all in the mind. I just pretend I have two legs. Only time I want to see a gator up close is on my dinner plate. Gator actually tastes pretty good. Gator actually tastes pretty good. We have a cool place here, Jones. If you're ever in Florida, we have a place called. I'll let you guess what the name is. What do you think the theme park is called? All right, it's a theme park of. What do you think it is? Artemis says, can we do a talk about the sinkhole of Sony closing just purchased studios? It's a perfect segue. Pretty damn close. It's not called Gator Park, but it's called Gator Land. Yeah, it's actually pretty cool. They have over, I want to say they have like 1,200 gators. And they have this event where they start giving them like cooked chicken. They all come shooting up out of the water and start attacking each other. It's pretty impressive. It's the most redneck thing you'll see. It's actually not cooked chicken, it's raw chicken, but it's called Florida Park. You can go to a golf course, mini golf course, where you can feed baby gators, Jones. That's how Florida is. They're like, hey, you want to feed a gator? Like most people like feed goats and whatnot. They're like, nah, you can feed a baby gator. And rule of thumb, just for those of you out there, if you ever see a gator, you see a gator and their head's like this big, about every inch is about how old they are. So if you see a gator that's just the head's like 5 inches long, it's probably 5 years old, right? All depends, 3 to 5 years old. You see a gator that's like 13 feet long, just know he's about as old as you are. Like if you're like in your 40s, like late 30s, early 40s. You see a big guy like 16 feet, 18 feet, he's got some time. All right, let's see what you guys are voting on. Sony Concord looks like it's the winner. And then it'll be Microsoft and then Ubisoft. Or we'll leave that up for a little bit. All right, so this happened the day... Yeah, what, did it happen yesterday? I don't know. I was out of town yesterday. I think it happened on Wednesday. Yeah, it was Wednesday. Or no, it happened on Tuesday evening after I got off. All right. So we're talking about Sony shuts down... Okay, shuts down studio behind Concord. Now, when it first came out, the wording in their description said that they're, putting it on the back burner or whatever. And I said it could shut down. I said I don't think they're going to shut it down. I said I give it like 6 months. So I was wrong. They didn't give it 6 months. They gave it like 6 weeks, and then they shut it down. So I was wrong. Can't get them all right, but I thought they were going to come back out, but I did say this. I said, even if it does come back out, what are they going to do? I was like, it's not going to make it, right? So I said it's going to fail regardless. So, you know, they just took the losses and said, fuck it, we're not even gonna try. So if you guys like what I do here, we talk about news stories, conversations based on the news story itself, give you my thoughts and opinions off of it. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. If you like it and want to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. It does help us out. I say us out. It helps me out. Just me. Nobody else here. Right? It's just me. All right. All right, so Sony shuts down studio behind Concord less than 2 years after buying it. Okay. Before I even read one other word from this thing, I just want to put the same energy level out there. Okay. If Phil Spencer did this to Concord, everybody be asking for Phil Spencer's head and that he has to get fired. Sony does this, and like the word on the street is, they're fine. Like, just keep the same energy level. Okay, so let's continue. Sony shuts down the studio behind Concord less than 2 years after buying it. Firewalk Studios is shutting down over a month following the shooter's disastrous launch. Okay, Firewalk Studios is shutting down. PlayStation CEO Herman Holtz announced in a press release on Tuesday the team was also responsible for Concord and the company's sci-fi hero shooter that bombed so badly it's taken offline just weeks after it launched earlier this year. Now, the news comes less than 2 years after PlayStation 5 maker first acquired Firewalk Studios as part of its ambitious plans for live service games. Okay, it says, quote, certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land with enough players as a result that took the game offline. That's an understatement. That's an understatement, okay? Didn't get enough players. You had less than 25,000 people, right, purchase the game, and you had a concurrent player base of less than 700. That is, at best, mild reporting, okay? It should have been like, they didn't land any players. You should put the number of players that they had playing concurrently on Steam, which was 697. Like, put it out there. Like, put it out there, okay? It says, we've spent considerable time of these past few months exploring all of our options. I just want to picture how this went, okay? Okay. I'm going to highlight that real fast, okay? Exploring the options, okay? We have spent considerable time these past few months exploring all our options. They're at, all right, guys. So I'd like to call a meeting. Everyone come in here. All right, what do you guys got for this game that had 697 people play on Steam and we had less than 25,000 sales? Anybody have any options? Yeah, Ted. I think we should just close it. That's a stupid idea, Ted. Next one, Susie. Susie says we should close it as well. You're fired, Susie. Rico, what do you think? I think we should redesign the characters to make them look better. That's the stupidest idea, Rico. Anybody else? Anybody else have any options? No options? Anybody? Nobody has anything? All right, fuck it. We're just going to close it. Sorry, guys. Everyone's fired. We'll see you later. Thanks for letting us spend $200 million on your already $200 million project. We do appreciate you very much. Thanks for coming out. Right down the road is Bungie. You guys can go over to Bungie. You'll probably get fired in a couple weeks anyway. But you're more than welcome to apply for Bungie. We have room over there for people because we already got rid of, a couple hundred people over there as well. Not a big deal. All right, thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate your time for the last 2 years. Have a good one. Like, there was no options. You couldn't make this free to play. You couldn't change the guys up. You couldn't change the gameplay. You couldn't do anything. This was dead in the water before they even came out with it because the oversaturation market. Okay. It says, after much thought, we've determined that the best path forward is permanently sunsetting the game and close the studio. That was the best option. That was the best option, right? They're just like, yeah, we should just close it. That's the only option we have. That's the only option. Okay. I want to thank all of Firewalk for their craftsmanship and creative spirit and dedication. Man, can you imagine paying somebody, hey, I want to hire you to give me the best goddamn thing you can come up with, and then putting it out there and going, thank you, Reg, for the great craftsmanship of a game that lasted 12 days. Amazing. Firewalk Studios was formed in 2018 as the few ex-Bungie developers working on the new multiplayer shooter under the umbrella of the gaming studio startup, Probably Monsters, formed by ex-Bungie CEO Harold Ryan. Concord was also in development for years and picked up the Sony early on and promising prospects of the portfolio and played live service games. I still believe, my speculation, only my speculation, Bungie had Sony, they're like, we have a plan, guys. We fucked over Activision. We fucked over Microsoft. Nobody else is going to give us a shot. I think we could screw over Sony. They're like, we could get Sony for a lot of money. Not only can we move some people over here to make a separate game in a separate studio from Bungie guys, okay, but we're going to sell Bungie to them, and then we're going to sell this studio for them. We can get Sony for a lot of money. There's a lot of people from ex-Bungie employees and current Bungie employees that have cost Sony a crap ton of money in the last couple years. Very interesting. Okay. So it says the initial development deal for the game was just over $200 million, according to two sources familiar with the agreement, but who also were not authorized to speak publicly about it. But Kotaku understands the amount was not enough to cover the game's entire development and did not include the purchase of Concord's IP rights or Firewalk Studios itself, which Sony acquired only last year. Concord mixed a Destiny 2 style PvP shooter and Overwatch 2's hero shooter struggled out of the gate following its full reveal at PlayStation Showcase in the past of May. Initial trailers received overwhelming negative reactions from perspectives of players, and also open betas over the summer didn't do much change for those perceptions. The final game reviewed okay, and the critics by and large felt that there was not enough to help Concord stand out in already crowded, crowd-filled, and other established multiplayer shooters that were also mostly free to play. I mean, is this like rocket science? You know what I mean? You knew you were making this game in a landscape of games that were already out. It wasn't like a surprise, like, hey, we're making Concord. What? There's other free-to-play games out there that are hero shooters? Call me shocked and surprised. Like, what are we talking about? You were making this game for years. You knew what the market was. You knew the landscape of what it was and what it was coming out into, and you still went full steam ahead with this thing. Somebody made a baddie. Someone made a boo-boo. Someone needs to get reprimanded. Fired? Something. Demoted? That doesn't happen in this industry. Okay? For the higher-ups, anyway. Only for the peons. Okay? So with some analysts estimating that the game only sold around 25,000 copies, can we amplify that a bit? 25,000 copies. If you're an independent developer and you're like a man of one working on a video game and you sold 25,000 copies, you would be like, it's pretty shitty. Still good for one person making a video game, okay? But this is a AAA studio. This was a first-party title. This is devastating. 25,000 copies. I'll tell you what, though. There's 25,000 people out there that own a hard copy of this game that are going to make a lot of money off of this. Because this game is now dead, and those people with physical copies, people that are collectors out there, will pay good money for this just to have it in their collection. Okay? Okay, so Concord was later taken offline less than a month after it launched, Kotaku previously reported, and the game director, Ryan Ellis, had initially stepped down from his management role of the game, while in the future was assessed by Sony leadership. The rest of the team, meanwhile, was left in limbo to wonder if Firewalk might be put out to work or other Sony projects or shut down entirely. Well, we know the answer now. Okay. Pulse also announced today that Neon COD, which also is required by Sony in the last few years, would also be closed as well, and the multiplayer mobile shooter was working on would be canceled. I never even heard of this studio before, so this is another studio. So two studios. A mobile studio and Firewalk studio for a live service game, both shut down. Okay, let's read the thing that went out from Holman Rhodes. Dear team, today I want to share some important updates from Sony Interactive Entertainment Studio Business Group. We consistently evaluate our games profiles and status of our projects to ensure the meeting near and long-term business priorities. Okay, as part of our ongoing efforts and to strengthen the SIE's studio's business, we have had to make a difficult decision in relating two of our studios, okay, in Neon COD and Firewalk Studios. Expanding beyond PlayStation devices and crafting engaging online experiences alongside other single-player games are key focal areas for us to evolve our revenue streams. We need to be strategic, although in bringing our games to a new platform and recognizing when our games fall short or meeting players' expectations. Okay? While mobile remains priority growth area of the studio business, we are also very early stages of mobile efforts. We achieved success in this area. We need to concentrate on titles like that in line with PlayStation Studios' pedigree and also have potential to reach more players globally. Okay? With the refocus approach, COD will close and the mobile action game will soon be moving forward. Will not be moving forward. Sorry. I want to express my gratitude to everyone at the studio and their hard work and the endless passion to innovate. Regarding Firewalk, has announced in early September an important update on Concord. Certain aspects of Concord were exceptional, but others did not land. I wonder what part was exceptional. Do you think Sony looks at it and goes, yeah, those game characters were fantastic, right? Or was it the gameplay? Or was it the story? Or was it the price point? What was exceptional? Okay, but did not land enough players. As a result, we took the game offline, and we have spent considerable time in those past few months exploring all our other options, which was nothing. Okay, after much thought, we've determined the best path forward is permanently sunset the game and close the studio. I love that sunset. I bet you Bungie said it. You guys should say sunset. They love sunset. You should put sunset out there. Instead of saying closing the studio, make sure you just say sunset, okay? Because it's giving an option of it may rise again. I want to thank all of the Firewalk of their craftsmanship and creative spirit and dedication, okay? And thanks for your dedication, guys. And I appreciate you, but you're all fired. Have fun trying to find a job. Okay, the PvP first-person shooter genre is competitive space and continuously evolving, and unfortunately, we did not hit our targets with the title. We will take the lesson learned from Concord and continue to advance our live service capabilities and deliver future growth in the area. He says, I know none of this is easy news to hear, particularly with the colleagues and friends departing of SIE. Both decisions were given with serious thought, and ultimately, we feel that they are the right ones for strengthening the organization. COD and Firewalk were home to many talented individuals, and we'll work to find placement for some of these impacted within the global community studios where possible. Which is not very many, because they're firing a whole bunch of other people, right? Across the whole industry. Okay? Hell, Nintendo just fired a couple people, closed some studios. I'm a big believer in benefit of embracing creative experimentation and developing a new IP. However, growing through sustainable financial, especially in the challenging economic environment, is critical. While today is a difficult day, there is much to look forward to in the months ahead from Studios Business Group, and our also teams remain confident that the building resilience and capable organization driven to creating unforgettable entertainment experiences for our players. Well, let me tell you something. Concord was definitely unforgettable. We will never forget how bad it bombed in the industry. Okay, it's literally the worst thing ever. Okay, so that's the whole article there. Now, this is not good. This doesn't bode well, because here we are, where Sony picked up Bungie, and Destiny was struggling. They were on the brink of extinction, basically. Okay, now they had a good turnaround with the final shape, but supposedly it didn't sell very well. It didn't sell as many copies or be as big as they thought it was going to be. Then they have the ex-Bungie guys make a separate studio. Okay, make Concord, and that bombed. Like, we don't even call it bombing anymore. We just call it Concord. Okay, so when another game comes out and it bombs, just say, oh man, it concorded. Okay, like that's the new term, at least on this channel. When something's so bad, it's been concorded. Okay, and then now we have Marathon. So this is yet another live service game coming from the studio that struggled with Destiny after Concord, and Marathon could become another Concord. It could Concord out. Okay, which is going to be really bad for Sony. Because remember, they had 12 games that they wanted to do live service with. And they diminished those to 6 games, focusing on 6 games in the next 3 years by 2026. Okay, 3 years, 24, 25, and 26. And now one is completely just obliterated, which has now shaken the ground. It's almost become like a sinkhole, like we were talking about. And now, can Marathon stand on itself, or is it on a shaky foundation where it could get swallowed and become another Concord from the same studio that's struggling, from ex-Bungie employees and from Bungie employees? Bungie right now could be one of the worst pickups in video game history, okay? and just be associated with Bungie. This is going to be very interesting to see. Now, I'm not saying it is. I'm just saying it could be. Okay, but these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you make of Concord and Sony making these business decisions? Looks like Jim Ryan got out at the right time because he's not being blamed for any of this. But also, Herman Holtz is also not being blamed for any of this. Nobody's being blamed for any of this, right? Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let me scroll back up here. Jason says, biggest flop of all time. Mo says, also, it's the 6th shutdown in 4 years. Management issues, I suspect. No, they're fine. They're fine, Mo. They're fine. If this was happening in Microsoft's world, it'd be the end of Microsoft. That's it. Microsoft shutting down. Phil Spencer needs to get fired. Someone needs to lose their job. Somebody needs to get fired. Herman Holtz, like, hey, he's only been there less than a year. Give him time. Give him time. Are you going to try Destiny Rising tomorrow? I didn't get invited. I signed up. Didn't get an invite. It's okay. Probably best. Probably for best. Papa says 100% they would also be biased. It's so funny I had to watch Microsoft close something. Microsoft bad. Sony closes something. It's fine. Yep. 100%. Altered says 200 million plus the amount spent buying the studio. Easy money for the owner of the studio there. What you can do in 4 weeks, nothing. Pack it up. Yes. it's so ridiculous. After much thought, they literally, everyone at the studio probably knew they were done. They're like, we can't do anything about this. We can't make it free to play. We can't redesign everything. It's done. It's over. And you know what's going to be even the best? That episode's going to come out of Concord in that Amazon show, whatever. And that's just gonna be like, you know, beating a horse when it's dead. Right? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be really bad. It's going to be awesome. Like, you're going to watch that and go, man, that looks cool. And they'll be like, oh, well, that's done. I wish I played it more before they packed it up. You know what, Jones? You're probably not the only person that thought that. Sony thought the exact same thing. I wish people played it more before we closed it up. Good Papa says 30. I'm estimating a total loss of 400 to 600 million. I'm thinking 600 million because they put 200 million into the game, and that was already worth 200 million. And they probably spent another 200 million for the studio. Yeah. Well, on top of that, not only that, but the amount of revenue they could have made, right? Right. So they lost the 400 to 600 million, but they potentially lost an additional 400 to 600 million because they thought it was going to make it. It says no one cared about Concord at all. So no one cared if this studio closed. I say good riddance. World says, I remember saying it here before it launched that it was going to flop. Didn't think it was going to be this bad, though. Yeah, when we, back in May, you can go back to my video. I was like, who is this for? I was like, what are they doing? And I asked, is it free to play or is $40? And then a couple weeks later, they said it was $40. I said, this game's done. I said, this game is done before it even comes out. Altered says, well, Jim Ryan really fucked this up. Yeah, blame it on Jim. In my days, they did the day before. Yeah, imagine that. The day before was the meme, and Concord best that. Best that. Remember they had stated that the play where they showed Concord and Marvel Rivals on the same show? Yeah, we were like, what is that? Ubisoft is failing? Oh, yeah, they're failing big time. Come on, Sin. Happy Halloween.
Gaming says, I'm confused. Did Herman spearhead buying the studio? I don't know if he spearheaded buying the studio, but it was his responsibility for seeing this through, right? Like, he's the head of gaming. So regardless, right, if you don't turn something around or fix something, that's what happens when you get paid big money, right? They gotta see things. So maybe they give him a pass, but what happens, right? If you're gonna give him a pass, then why don't you give the studio a pass? They were only doing what they were told. They were told to make this game from another studio. Sony picked them up to make that game. They continued making that game. Sony said, yeah, it looks good. And then they put it out there, and then it bombed. Later, Super Dave. Dolphin says, now that that's out of the way, can we never talk about Concord again? Oh, no. We officially said if a game like bombs, is now called Concord. Just like when people say, maybe it'll have a No Man's Sky moment. It's been Concorded. Hell, we might switch Abe Vigoda to Concord. Anytime a game bombs or fails, we will now call it Concord. And we'll have Concord's background with Abe Vigoda calling the show to tell you that another game is dead. He says if they would have had a good foundation, a full game probably could have been pivoted. But they took the money, put out the least viable product, thinking that it could get away with it. 100%, Z. 100%. Is there grounded news for gaming? Everyone's so biased. I mean, me, maybe. I might be the closest one. Just giving my thoughts and opinions on the articles. I mean, but I guess I'm biased against bad companies. So Ray says, I really hope worthy talent gets jobs. Gaming studios now are so big, there's lots of fat. Well, that's a completely different conversation, right? So there's been a lot of people that get jobs that are not qualified enough, right? We've seen it in the TV show and the movie industry where writers that are not seasoned writers are getting jobs and they're failing miserably because of their writing skills. We're also seeing that in the gaming industry where writers are not good writers getting these jobs, failing miserably, and then getting another job writing, okay? Instead of, like, learning off of, like, small independent studios, they're getting jobs. Excuse me. They're getting jobs in, like, the AAA market. So what's happening is you would hope that the best person for the job, okay, regardless of sex, race, religion, political reviews, okay, they're just getting the job for their qualifications of what their experience is, okay? This is why older people usually get better positions because they have more experience. Not to say it's always that way, okay? But when you hire someone in their early 20s just coming out of school, giving them a position they shouldn't have, and especially in a leadership position, there's a problem. Someone that has a leadership position that's been in the industry for 5 years compared to someone that's been in the industry for 20 years is completely different experiences. So you would hope that the person that has the talent is actually getting the good jobs and not the people with the less experience, okay? Might sound unfair, but the people, not to say that people that are younger don't have the experience, some people just outdo themselves, right? Like, for instance, Michael Jordan, okay? Very young. LeBron James, very young. Kobe Bryant, when they came in the league, okay, they were very young, and they could outdo some of the older guys that have been in the league. But what is that? What percentage is that? The very few outweigh the very many of the people who have experience. And even with their experience of how they could shoot or whatever, they were still learning off the guys that were giving them more experience. So can you imagine if the people that just came in as a rookie were telling the people that have been in the league for 15 years what to do? How do you think the old guys are going to react to that new guy? They're going to hate him. Be like, who are you to tell me what to do, right? That's the exact same thing of the same type of situation it is when someone's younger than you, gets a position than you, and you could tell he doesn't know what he's doing, or she doesn't know what he's doing. Oh, it just came to me, I'll turn. It just came to me. Okay? You've been concorded. I know this would be, people would take this out of context. But because Donald Trump had a show of you're fired, and because AI is so good, I want a video of saying you're fired, but instead of saying you're fired, saying you've been concorded. That'd be pretty good. Can someone work on that for me? You're concorded. That'd be good. Sarge says, so is anyone taking responsibility for Concord failure? Anyone? Yeah, I think Phil Spencer is taking credit for Concord's failure, and also Jim Ryan. Yep. Never go full Concord. Yep. Artemis says we still talk about Redfall. I don't think Concord... Yeah, they don't get away that easily. It's not getting away that easy, Artemis. It's forever the worst game in the history of AAA games. Host says it took a big old Concord. Yeah, this could be for days. Dolphin says, last night I concorded your mom. We're just going to have a whole bunch of this stuff, right? Concord's never leaving. It's now added to the 30 NSG vocabulary. Fantastic. Fantastic. What in the Concord is this? Ray says, at least Sony paid money to get a short on Amazon Prime. The economy is rolling. Well, here's the thing. They were putting the cart before the horse, I think, with this particular IP, right? Because they wanted to make, like, books. There's rumors out there that only the game was coming out, but then that little shorts coming out. They were talking about making a television show, and they were talking about making, like, books and comic books of all this stuff. They were trying to put the cart before the horse. They were trying to make this whole big Star Wars-esque type of thing, like Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, before it was even popular, which I think is a huge mistake, right? You can't tell us what the next Harry Potter is. You can't tell us what the next Lord of the Rings or Star Wars is, right? The people that like something will tell you, oh, this is the next franchise. You don't tell us this is the next franchise, okay? The people that buy your game tell you and notify you that this is the next franchise that we're interested in. Make a Concord emote? We already did. It's a trash can. Ayo. The studio's taking responsibility for Concord? No, they no longer exist. This is an example of what our generation did with other existing words. Yeah, you just take a word and you start, memeing it. Thanks to the Yankees, Concord moment. The LA Dodgers are the new World Series champions. That's fantastic, Sin. I give you 5 points. 5 points of the day. Thank you very much for using Concord in a sentence. That's fantastic. You know what? I'm going to give you 6 points. You got 6 points. You are the leader today. Okay. The Yankees concorded moment. The Dodgers are the new World Series champions. There you go. Maybe they should have launched it after the Amazon show. Maybe they would have gotten a few more sales. They could have maybe gotten up to 700 people playing the game and maybe 26,000 sales. Ray says, books. Where's my Order 1886 novel? I said whoever wins between the Dodgers and the Mets, I said they're going to beat the Yankees. I just felt like they were better teams. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm going to link it back up to New York because the LA Dodgers used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers, which then turned into the New York Mets. Because when the Dodgers moved to LA, the Mets came in 20 years later, became the Mets. So the Dodgers won, which is the Dodgers of old, which is the new of the Mets, but boom. Yeah, see how I moved the goalpost? Did you see how I did that? See how I did that? Did you see the clip of the drunk guy ripping the ball out of the player? Yeah, what was that, dude? That person should never, ever be in a ball game again. And if he does come to a ball game, he's got to sit all the way up to the top. Like, he comes in, they're like, uh-oh. Jack is here. Like, sorry, Jack. After that World Series incident, you only can buy nosebleed sections. Like, oh, man. Like, he literally, they ganged up on him. They ganged up on him and ripped the ball out. Like, what? Well, I don't care if he got kicked out. I'm saying he should never be near a fence line again. That's uncalled for. When I first saw the picture, I thought, seriously, when I first saw the picture, I thought the guy was handing him the ball. Like with his glove, like up there, like, here you go. But then I saw the video and I was like, what the? Yeah. How them Giants doing? Oh, yeah, they're terrible. You could never make fun of the New York Giants or the Mets or the Knicks, and I'll be like, stop it. What are you talking about? You understand what it takes to be a Mets fan? You know what it takes to be a Mets fan? You understand what it takes to be the non-popular New York team fan? Okay? Please. Please. Depression. No, there's no depression. We're just numb. We're just numb on the inside. We're like, all right. You ever see that Family Guy episode, dog? Where Family Guy says, opening season for the New York Mets, and the first pitch, and that's the season. You ever see that episode? That is the exact thing what Mets fans are like. You really can't affect me in any way, shape, or form. All right, the next story you guys were voting on was the Microsoft one, and then we'll do Ubisoft. Dolphin. No, I wouldn't know because all the Wisconsin teams were good. Now. Yeah, now, Dolphin. Do you want me to go back to the days? You want me to go back to those days? I mean, obviously the Green Bay Packers have the most championships because of the oldest team in existence. At least the Giants hold a new record. What's the new record? They have a win. Don't they have 2 wins? At least they're not, defeated. Most yards with 20 points and still lose. That's fantastic. Just remember, we had a quarterback that won 2 Super Bowls against the greatest quarterback of all times, and his facial expression, regardless if he was under pressure, excited, sad, confused, it looked like this, dog. Good old Eli Manning. He'll always be known as two-time Super Bowl champion that stopped Tom Brady from winning undefeated season. You could never take that away from the Giants. This face right here. Let me see if I can find that face. Let me find that face for you. Here you go. There's that beautiful face. Confused. Hey, you can just there's tons of them. Tons of pictures of him. That's the face. Every single time. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. That's the face. That face is in Tom Brady's dreams. Nightmares. He's that. He's like, son of a. That's right. Just remember. Oh yeah, it's fantastic. If you can't be the best, then be the worst. You'll be remembered just as fondly. Yeah, just a good time, right? I'm not even following. I'll be honest. I don't even know what week we are in football. And I like to thank, just like I like to thank Avowed for coming out late, right? Next year, early next year, so I can go back to my backlogs of video games. I like to thank the New York Giants for sucking this year so I don't have to watch sports and I can watch other things. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you, Giants. Yeah, insert Alice in Wonderland rabbit hole clip. Next story. Next story. You guys like what I do here? Hit that like button. Just have fun. Getting through a couple hours of your day. Have conversation. Good, bad, indifferent. Just have conversation. Okay? So Microsoft gaming revenue keeps going up even though hardware sales are going down. How does it happen? Please explain to me. Everyone's always like, Microsoft is going down. They're closing the shop. What are they doing? We get revenues going up, but they're not selling consoles. Make it make sense, 30. If you like what I do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So Microsoft gaming revenue keeps going up even though hardware sales are down. The company saw a 61% increase in Xbox software revenues, and cloud game has also a bright spot for the company. Okay, Microsoft Q1 2025 earnings are in, and the results show that Microsoft software gaming revenues are way up, even as Xbox hardware revenue is declined. I know what people are going to say just off that first sentence, like, well, it's because of Call of Duty, because of Activision. If they didn't buy the thing, then they wouldn't have had the thing. Well, no shit. Imagine selling more software to people after you buy something for $69 billion, giggity, okay, where you can actually sell the stuff, and you're not only selling it on your system, but you're selling it on every system, and then you're also selling it on Game Pass with microtransactions and everything else. Amazing. Now, the company says that Xbox content and service revenue grew 61% year over year for previous quarter, a figure driven by 53 points of the net impact from Activision acquisition. According to the company's press release, but hardware revenue again declined down 29% this quarter, which may influence the Xbox or Microsoft's continued strategy to make games available more widely than just Xbox consoles. Duh. Okay, during the quarter, Microsoft introduced a new Xbox. Actually, you know what? Widely than just Xbox consoles. Just insert Eli Manning's face. Okay. During the quarter, Microsoft introduced a new Xbox Game Pass standard tier, and the price hike for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Quarter 1 also saw the arrival of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on Xbox Game Pass, but this quarter doesn't include the impact of Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which launched last week, which we read the article before, which is the highest ever. Okay, but we don't know the numbers. Microsoft CEO Nadella said its earnings call that the game was the biggest Call of Duty ever released. For Xbox, right? Did he miss that word? For Xbox? You know what I mean? So the company's intellectual cloud division has also a bright spot, with the total revenue of up 20% year over year to $24.1 billion, driven by Azura. Okay? Man, for that cloud gaming that no one's using, that's not going to be the future of gaming, $24.1 billion driven by Azura. Azura's the other cloud service revenue was up 33%, including 12 points from demand of its also AI service. Productivity and business processes, which includes the Office products, was up 12% year over year for $28.3 billion in revenue. Microsoft's OEM devices revenue, which is also now reported together, were up 2%. However, the figure was also driven growth in Windows OEM and partially offset the decline of device of Microsoft says. Now, Microsoft, thank you very much for the subscription. Microsoft, like many other companies, is investing heavily in the AI-focused features and tools right now, especially to improve Copilot. AI-driven transformation is changing work artifacts, and also workflow across every role, function, and business process. Now, Nadella says in a statement that we're expecting our opportunity to winning new customers as we help them apply our AI platforms and tools to driven the net growth and operating leverage. Microsoft's AI business is set to surpass an annual run rate of $10 billion this quarter. Nadella said also on the call. And the company also made a security is in top priority and release of report quarter 1, but it also efforts during the quarter. Microsoft also had to grapple with the effects of blue screens of death caused by a massive CrowdStrike outage, which I got affected by when I was on my trip over the summer. So how is it that Microsoft's revenue keeps going up, but their game console sales of devices keep going down? How is it? Well, I know it's amazing. I know a lot of people don't understand how business works. I don't understand how people don't understand how Microsoft has become a $1 trillion business over these years, of the 40 years it's been in business. Okay, because Microsoft. Okay, they make software. Okay, that's on every platform and basically in the existence of computers. Okay, and now they're taking the same stance with video games. Instead of putting video games and trying to sell as many consoles as possible, they decided to, who gives a shit about console sales, which I said about 6 years ago, okay, and said that they just want to sell as many software as possible. When you have a saturation point in your console market, just in consoles in general, if you take Nintendo, PlayStation, and Xbox, total, there's like 250, I'll give them 300 million people that have consoles across the board. With 3 consoles, there's 300 million people potentially that could purchase a console, or that, I shouldn't say potential, that are buying the consoles. But then there's everybody else on mobile, everybody else that's on PC, and that's in the billions. Billions each. It's like 1.5 billion, 1.7 billion for PC, and it's like 3 billion for mobile devices. So Xbox decided, hey, let's get in the market where the people are. Instead of trying to get those people to come over to us, let's try to get our software to them. And this is why I never understood, while the fanboys on both sides that just sniff each other's asses, that they always fight over a plastic box. But meanwhile, the people that are actual big boys, that want to make actual money, are putting games in more places. Now, there's a completely different conversation to say that if gaming is actual games, if Microsoft is making games for gamers, or are they making games for everyday person that can play games in their time, right? Look at Dragon Age Origins. Or I'm sorry, Dragon Age Veilguard, not Origins. Okay, Dragon Age Veilguard is probably the most widespread Dragon Age game they've ever created, right? It's a small group of people that played that game. 2 million, 3 million, 6 million for Inquisition. Okay, that's the most BioWare has ever sold for any of their games. Inquisition had 6 million. Now they're trying to broaden that audience even more with this game. Are they going to do it? Probably not. But they're trying to get it out there as much as possible. This is why Ubisoft is trying to get their games on Steam day and date. This is why they're trying to go not make it exclusive for one console or the other. They want more software sales. This is why EA puts their games on all platforms. This is why Square Enix is putting their games on all platforms. This is why Sony is trying to get their games on multiple platforms. The studio or the company that doesn't make third-party games, but only live service games, but only when games force them to do this, they're all trying to make more money. So it's not surprising when Microsoft comes out and says that our revenue is up, but our game console sales are down, because they're trying to put more games in more places, and they don't care if you buy a console. If you want to buy it, buy it. If you want to play it on a streaming stick, play it on a streaming stick. If you want to play it on your mobile phone, they don't care. This is why this is going to go up, and people are just shocked about it. They're like, I don't understand. How is Microsoft still around? Because they're a $1 trillion company, and they have a bankroll. And when you have money, you make money. And when you have the ability of what they can do to spend money to make money and push this, and when it's a bad time and they lose money, they still have other avenues that are making money for the company to keep this afloat in the long run. So if they do have a bad time, they're still able to do it. Disney did this with the parks. When the movies, TV shows fail, and all the other stuff fails, and no one's buying toys or going to the movies or going and watching TV shows, the theme parks were funding all of this stuff because that was their moneymaker, right? So when you have a bankroll, you could do what you want. Nintendo has a bankroll, hence why they do what they want and go the opposite direction of everybody else. And this is why they also sell 30 to 60 million copies of their games, because software is what gives them the thing, not the hardware. But these are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think about Microsoft's revenue going up? All right, is Microsoft dead? Is Sony dead? Are all these companies dead? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. OG Frost, are you the person that hit that subscribe button when I was chatting? I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Sarge says, going up? What? WTF are you talking about? So the plan is working. What do you know? Mo says, heads up, hardware isn't the moneymaker. Yeah, imagine that, Mo. Imagine that. Spoiler alert, they're going to make money back, folks. Yeah, they're not going to make their money back ASAP, right, Hater? Right? Like, when you spend $70 billion, it's going to take a really long time to make that money back. But in the grand scheme of things, they'll make that money back as a company really fast. But for Xbox to make that back, it's going to be like 5-7 years. They probably want to pay it off in like 5. Sin says, and it's going to keep going up quite some time, several quarters down the road. SIE suits will be also brainstorming on how to emulate Microsoft's gaming revenue growth. Of course, they've already done it, Sin. They're already moving their games over to PC. They're already going into the mobile market. They're already going into live service. They're already going into cloud gaming. They're already making the moves so they can compete. Because, come on, Sony's not stupid. They're not just going to sit there and go, nope, we're staying with just console. They're not going to do it. They see the road, and they just have to make it. Now, the difference between Microsoft and Sony is that Microsoft has a bigger bankroll than Sony, right? So it's going to take them, it's going to take harder to turn the boat for Sony to get it down in the right avenue, but they'll be there. Eclipse says, I think everyone knows that, but people that want to also say consoles matter because of sales. Sarge says, just checking, does PlayStation have a new COD? Yeah. 30. The Sony letter, read it again. I think it's the last paragraph, 3 or 4. Sony's going to be moving more platforms. Of course they are. I don't need to read it, Akuta Papa. I know that's what they're going to do because they're a business that wants to make money, right? Of course they are. This is why I've always said that they're going to be day and date down the road. It might not be this year. It might not be next year. But there's going to be a time where they want an influx of cash fast. And why would you take your first-party title game and only put it here and then wait 2 years and then make money over here, right? It doesn't make any sense. You want to put it out, make as much money as possible so you can move on to the next thing. Why worry about that 8 months, 10 months, 12 months down the road to then port it out, whatever? Work on it, put it out day and date, and then make the money and move on to the next thing that you're worried about. That's something we don't have here, Eclipse. We know seasons when our grass turns brown, right? It's just dead. That's it. That's all we have here. He says, right, 30. It's harder for Sony to turn the boat. This is why they tried to out-corners them with the company with IP acquisitions. Thoughts? Yeah, so this is exactly right. They don't have enough time to compete with Microsoft one-to-one, Z. Okay? And I'm not saying Microsoft is better than Sony for this. What I'm saying is, because they don't have the bankroll to go buy companies like this, and the companies they do buy, they close down, right? So that they basically, it's a wash. Okay? They've wasted that money and time. Okay? But what they are doing is that they're like, let's try to slow them down. Let's try to slow Microsoft down. Let's get Crimson Desert. Let's try to get exclusive. Let's try to get, you know, another game. This is why they tried to get Hogwarts Legacy. This is why they tried to get Starfield. And Microsoft was like, hold on a second. If they get this, we're not going to have anything. And they're like, well, let's just buy the company and let's put it out on multiple platforms, right? Which is true because they're putting it on Xbox and they're putting it on PC day and date. They're just not putting it on PlayStation. Where if PlayStation had the exclusive, it would only be on PlayStation and it wouldn't be on PC and it wouldn't be on Xbox, right? So Microsoft's move was, all right, well, if they're not going to let us have it, then we're just going to buy the company and then we'll make our choices. And if we want to release it to PlayStation, then we'll release it to PlayStation. Okay? That's what they're doing. So Sony can't compete with that. This is why they're trying to snipe companies, right? Get the exclusive. You better damn right better well know that they're trying to get Grand Theft Auto 6 exclusive. Marketing, 6 months. You know that they want to get this bad. Bad. They want to get this game super bad. Okay? And it would make sense for Sony to try to snipe Grand Theft Auto, pay them money to make it exclusive, but it's like, does Rockstar do what Crimson Desert do? And say, nah, we don't need that. We don't need you, Sony, to make it exclusive because we know we're going to sell it oodles and oodles of games if we put it on all platforms at once instead of going to you. Now, they might do it exclusive for like, get this, get that, get the marketing rights, get a mission, get something like that. That's just PlayStation. But I don't see Rockstar signing that deal for just one console for 6 months to a year. Okay, if it's just on PlayStation. Rockstar, Gearbox, or I should say Take-Two, sees what everyone else is doing and is like, yeah, we're not going down that path. That's my personal opinion. I'm saying it because people aren't seeing that. If Sony is saying, they have now said it quite thing out loud. Oh yeah. First place must follow last place like sheep. So much for being and then yeah. So look. The future's this way. You can stay where you are as a business and be like, we're number one in this market. But if the market's shifting and you're stubborn and just sitting here, look, even Nintendo knows the market's shifting. How many online games for Nintendo have been coming out in the last couple years? The new Mario Party, okay, Jamboree is online multiplayer, okay? Nintendo sees the light. And they're like, we got to get our games out on online to get people instead of just playing on the thing, right? They're putting more online service games. They're putting more live service games out there type of stuff, right? Nintendo sees the light. But Nintendo has a much more fan base because it's a younger market, right? Not only is it a younger market, but now it's trying to go for the higher end market more because now when they update the graphics and if the new Switch does 60 frames per second or whatever, the older gamers will come back to Nintendo. But they always have that young group of people that will always be Nintendo because Nintendo has embedded itself in that market. Sony has to wait. Sony has to wait for these kids to grow up to become fans of Sony. Where Nintendo, at birth, they hand you a Nintendo. I don't think they have the funds to get exclusive deals with Rockstar. I think they can get a deal. I think they can get a deal just like they get a deal with any other game, where they can get a mission, downloadable content. They get it first for this mission, or sometime a time exclusive like they did for Destiny and all the other ones. 100%, I think they can do that, Frost. I don't think they'll get the exclusive rights. I don't think Rockstar will let them. Rockstar wants to make $1 billion day one. They don't want to wait 6 months to make $1 billion. Now, I understand that Rockstar doesn't usually put their games out on PC day and date. But at the same time, why limit yourself to just the consoles that are out there when the console market right now is still lower than it was the 4 years? Console sales are down than they were the last system 4 years in. You see what I'm saying? 4 years into the life cycle of the last system is lower overall, okay, as a total of consoles than it was this system. Or there's a rumor going on. There's going to be a MMO for Nintendo. That's crazy. If it's true, they see the light. Is the article talking about Microsoft's revenue overall or for specific gaming division? It's talking about a bunch of different things. It talked about the gaming division, then it talked about their software sales and stuff. The gaming division's up in software sales. But they also say it's because of the Activision deal, and that's not including the Black Ops 6 that came out. This is the last quarter, not what just came out. So that number of sales will go up next quarter. So we'll talk about it again in what? January or February about the next quarter. And then we'll see that this number goes up even more from the last quarter, year to year. No, it talks about a little bit down here with the Copilot, AI Copilot. It talks about the, where is it? It says here the company's cloud division. It talks about the game division. It talks about the cloud division. It talks about the AI division. It talks about their Office products as well. Everything's up. Yeah. Everything's up in the software devices. Devices are down. Yeah, here. I'll bring it back up. Here it says the company's intelligent cloud division, also a bright spot, with a total revenue up 20% year over year. Okay. The cloud service revenue is up 33%. Okay. And then the Office products was up 12% year over year. Okay. So everything's up. Everything's up. But the hardware revenue has declined 29%. But the software, everything's up. Everything's up. Chris says Xbox consoles are down. PlayStation 5 has been keeping up with the PlayStation 4. Most games continue to sell more on PlayStation 5, so I expect still kind of marketing with the PlayStation or GTA 6. They did a deal with PlayStation 5, GTA 5 for 10 last time. Yeah, well, it's keeping on pace, but it's actually going to slow down. The market has said that they're going to slow down because of the way the economy is, right? Right now, we showed it a couple weeks ago, Chris. There's actually a little curve, and it ends up being around where they have like 92 million sales of consoles at the same point. At the same point of the PlayStation 4, which had like 100 or 102 million at the same time slot. Okay, now obviously that could change because those are projections. But right now, it's down because PlayStation is down in sales right now because people are just not buying consoles. And overall, the entire console generation is less than the last generation. Less people are buying consoles. That's not saying less people are buying PlayStation and less people. No, overall, less people are buying consoles. It is hitting a saturation point right now. This is exactly why they came out with the PlayStation 5 Pro, because the saturation point of new people buying a PlayStation, they're not. So this is why they're dipping back in. Or maybe most people that buy the PlayStation 5 Pro are people that already own a PlayStation 5. Okay? And then the people that are coming in new, not very many, but people are going to come in. They said this year they're only going to sell 1.5 million. And within the next 5 years, they said they were going to sell, was it 5 million? Something like that? for the PlayStation 5 Pros or whatever it is over the next like 3 years, 4 years. I forget what it was. We did it a couple weeks ago. Eclipse says your sales might go up, but everyone's playing for free to play games apparently because your software sales aren't going up unless you're on PlayStation 4. Papa says 30 people aren't buying consoles right now because there's no point in buying one right now. No exclusives, so you might also well stay on the 4. Well, also, it's too expensive. Take the real world stuff that's going on. There's a lot of people that can't even buy groceries, let alone go out and buy a $500, now $700 system if you want to go up to the Pro. They're just not. They're staying where they are. That goes for Xbox. And there's still people playing Starfield and Microsoft Flight Sim on the Xbox One through the cloud. Let me glance through this Ubisoft one. Ubisoft CEO Insists X Defiant strategy is core. Is this just everything's down. Everything's down for Ubisoft. There's a negative 28.9% year over year for Ubisoft right now. For their portfolio. All right, we'll read this. We'll read this. Because this is from their earnings call. I just glanced over it. So we'll talk about it. I'm looking at the time. And there's still one more story after this. All right, if you guys like what I do here, we do just talk about news stories. Have conversations. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. We're here Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning until noon Eastern. You can watch the past broadcasts as well. There'll be time codes down below, so you can skip to the points of either I'm talking to chat or if I'm reading the stories and giving you my thoughts. Chris Coleman says PlayStation 5 is over 6 million or 60 million in less than 4 years. That's about the same pace as PlayStation 4. Games come out and give people incentives to buy it. Look what CF25 did. More games will leave PlayStation 4 behind. You're forgetting, though, the last time they came out with a console this expensive, Chris, is the last time we had the economy in the shitter, which was the PlayStation 3. That's why PlayStation 3 didn't sell very much. High very early on, and more people were buying it because of a Blu-ray player. This time, it's not that same thing. People are not buying it because of a Blu-ray player. Okay? It is on pace, but it's falling short. Again, this is not my speculation. This is from analysts that were showing what the console sales were going to be with the PlayStation 5 Pro coming out, what they want to sell over the next 5 years. And it's about 8 million lower, 8 to 10 million lower than what the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 4 Pro when they came out in this time, that last console, which is still 10 million less. Okay? Even if it hits and stays on pace, PlayStation 4 only has 122 million users. I say only because that is then, this is now. In the future, it's not about the console sales anymore. It's about how many people can get and to play your game. Okay? If you're still living in the old world where console sales matter, then fantastic. You're doing a fantastic job, Sony. You're selling the most consoles, in a landscape that nobody cares if they play a game on the console or not, right? They're doing exactly what Concord did. There's a whole landscape of games out there that are free to play, where you could play your games everywhere. And they're like, no, we're sticking with the business model of console sales is king. If that's where you want to be, cool. But software sales are much more important for other companies when their saturation point is you're never going to get more than what you had before. Even if they sell 122 million consoles for PlayStation 5, okay? That's it. 122 million, and that's your saturation point. How do you make more sales? You got to go out to PC. You got to go out to other things, right? You have to put day and date. You got to put live service games out there. They have to make money some other way because there's not enough people that are buying games and buying the platform anymore. All right. Ubisoft CEO insists that X-Defiant strategy is core amidst the plummeting financial performance. Okay. Ubisoft has held a company called to update shareholders on its first half performance of the fiscal year of 2024. This call was pitted to negativity, with the firm's leadership expressing a downturn in portfolio as it had led to drops as significant as negative 28.9% year on year. That's terrible. That is huge. Okay. While the playtime of MAU counts are up, spending is down. And the recent poor performance of Star Wars Outlaws has caused further internal issues at the time of when things were already critical. However, the company CEO, Guillemont, has also assured that everyone, despite the X-Defiant woes of games as a service, remains a core strategy moving forward. There's not much to say. In one question lobbied by Ubisoft CEO during a recent financial call, the radio silence around X-Defiant was noted. One analyst questioned why Ubisoft wasn't talking about X-Defiant and asked if it was an example of games as service not panning out for the firm. To that, Guillemont said, X-Defiant is behind our expectations, but the games as a service strategy remains core. Okay. X-Defiant has released in May of 2024 as a live service first-person shooter, and due to the kickoff of its third season, the content in coming in months, unfortunately for Ubisoft, the shooter has been plagued with issues since it dropped. And despite of it being free, readily available, the player count is dwindling, and the gamers have lost interest. That's because their netcode sucks. Their netcode sucked last year this time, and I actually had a video saying if they don't fix the netcode, it's actually going to hurt the game. But here we are, 1 year later, and the netcode's still shitty, and the game is losing people. Imagine that. I'm not a brain surgeon, okay? So as now games like Black Ops 6 have stripped X-Defiant audience to bare bones. In recent earnings call, Ubisoft confirmed that sales were down 19.6 year on year, and Backcat net bookings were down as much as 28.9 despite the drop in sales. Playtime is up 9%, and MAUs across Ubisoft's suite of games sits around 37 million, which makes it a 3% increase year over year. Now, Guillemont continued to reassure shareholders, okay, because he's holding, please believe in us. We're sticking strong to what we're doing, but they're ruining everything as they do it. Despite the recent setbacks, we're continuing to deeply transform Ubisoft in order to restore the level of creativity, innovation, and that built Ubisoft's success and delivering strong execution and predictability. Okay, to succeed, we must redouble our focus and execute and refine our player-centric mindset in everything we do. For example, we're improving the quality of Star Wars Outlaws, which, again, the game should have came out in the state already, not fix it 1 month, 2 months, 6 months, 12 months down the line. But that was planned. That's the planned obsolescence. That's the plan, the minimal viable product, whatever you want to call it, okay? That was planned by design. Make the game, get as much money as possible, get them into Ubisoft Plus, not finish the game, fix the game as we go over it, okay? Including activity addressing player feedback through title updates as we get ready for Steam launch and the first story pack and upcoming holiday season. We're also taking additional time to ensure that the upcoming very ambitious, is also flagship franchise, Opus, Assassin's Creed Shadows is highly polished, exceptional experience on day one, and it resonates strongly with the players. Now remember, they were going to sell you this game because now, and only now, are they telling you that this game is going to be, they're trying to get it extremely polished. What was it before? It was supposed to be in a couple weeks. 2 weeks from now, it was supposed to release, but they thought about it. They're like, oh no, we got to delay it to February, which also might get delayed to March, which also might get delayed to May. Okay. So they were going to deliver a broken, buggy, unfinished game for Assassin's Creed Shadows, just like they delivered a unfinished, broken, buggy game for X-Defiant, a unfinished, broken, buggy game for Star Wars Outlaws. Okay. Ubisoft has also been several tricky spots over the last few months, dealing with the strikes concerns of historical inaccuracies of the upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows, which may have contributed to the delays. May have contributed. May have. Okay? As suffering with the weight of layoffs and tightening purse strings. Okay? What do you think about Ubisoft's situation? Well, as someone said it earlier in chat, I think it was Altern, he says, X-Defiant's getting Concord. I think Ubisoft is being Concorded at this point. They are struggling to do anything correctly. And if you think that the Assassin's Creed Shadow game is going to come out on February, if it does come out, if you think it's going to be complete and finished at that time, boy, let me sell you a bridge in a desert. Okay? Because it ain't. It's not going to be. Okay? It is not going to be. But these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe. And if you like what I do here, please check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Chris says, the Pro is not the default system. It's also enthusiast-based PlayStation 5 and still mass consumer unit. Why is Pro seen as a default now? No one said it was the default now. No one said it was the default now. If you listen to what I said, the projections with the 5 and the Pro's not going to sell that many copies. They know that. Over the next 5 years, it's going to sell very, very little compared to, okay? It's almost, they actually projected it under the PlayStation 4 Pro, okay? It's that the economy right now is in the same state as when they released the $700 system or $600 system of the PlayStation 3. Okay, so the people are not going to buy that, so that's going to bring sales down. And the people are not moving from PlayStation 4 to 5 because there's not many games. How many first-party games came out this year for PlayStation? 2? Maybe 2? Maybe 3? Right? And this is not defending Xbox. Right? How many games came out for Xbox and first-party titles? Well, it doesn't really matter because no one's buying their games anyway because they're on Game Pass because they're in the service. Well, Xbox doesn't have that. Xbox doesn't have what PlayStation doesn't have what Xbox has. Right? They have to make the sales. Well, if a game comes out and it's exclusive for PlayStation, Final Fantasy 16, and it only sells 3.1 million copies, no one's playing it. No one's buying it. What's the sales? Right? Stellar Blade comes out. It's exclusive. Where's the sales? There's a saturation point. That's the problem, right? Take your fanboyism out for a second about Xbox or PlayStation. There's not enough people buying the system. Even though they're at 60 million, there's not enough people that bought the 60 million consoles that are buying the actual games to give them reason to make money off these other games. Artemis says, also, by year 4 or 5, I saw games like Spider-Man, God of War 18 come into the platform, then followed up with The Last of Us 2 and Ghost. We don't have a roadmap now. Well, here's another thing, Artemis. They're also concentrating a lot more on live service games. And I actually said probably last year, maybe about a year and a half ago, when they were talking about the live service things, I said, I hope that the live service games don't take precedent over their single-player first-party games. Because if they're putting all the eggs in their basket for live service and it doesn't pan out, then the first-party titles are also going to hurt for those customers. Robert Jones says, for everything Ubi is going wrong, they're doing live service right. For Honor, Rainbow, and Division still going. Yeah. But the problem is, a lot of their games, remember, Division wasn't working when it came out. Rainbow Six wasn't working when it came out. For Honor wasn't working when it came out. You see the problem here? You see the problem? They're good now, but they weren't good when they came out. Papa says 30. I think the first party 2, unless Stellar Blade, was second party. The second one and the first party. It doesn't. What I'm saying is exclusive content, right? First party 2, unless Stellar Blade is second party, and the second one. So, right, if it's first party or not, no one's buying the games that are exclusive on PlayStation. Underperformed. Right? The only one that did really well for them is Helldivers 2, which is day and date on PC and PlayStation. And it outsold more on PC than PlayStation. 60 million people. 4 million people bought it. 5 million people bought it. Something like that. PlayStation isn't Nintendo and driven by first party. That's exactly why people buy their games. Exclusivities and first party games. That's exactly why people buy PlayStation. 100%. They just don't have the same first party title strength as Nintendo because they don't have a Mario. They don't have a Star Fox or Sonic right? They're trying to make those characters. Hence why we read another article about a month and a half ago about them saying, Sony themselves, that they don't have enough IPs for PlayStation. Altern says, also, the console keeps getting the prices up. Have you seen console releases on $500 for 4 years later? It's also cost $600 upside down world. Well, here's the thing. If PlayStation actually wanted to get more consoles out in the market, they would have done where the PlayStation 5 Pro was the $500 system, and the PlayStation 5 would have went down to like $350. Then they would have sold a lot more consoles. Then they would have an influx of people coming into their system because the people that were over on PlayStation 4 don't want to spend $500. They're waiting for that magic number. They're like, what's that number? I can't wait for the PlayStation 5 Pro to come out because it's going to lower the prices. Well, they didn't do that this time, right? They didn't do that this time, at least not yet. Okay, so the PlayStation 5 Pro came out, and usually the other one goes down in price. Well, it didn't happen this time. So now the PlayStation 4 guys are like, I'm just going to stay here. I'm good. Waited 4 years. I'll wait longer. We don't know the numbers of that, though, to even say that's a flop or not, Mo. Right? You're saying that Astro flop. We don't know how many sales. Now, it was number 2 on the list. Again, you can say whatever number you want. What's the number? Right? When companies are happy with a number, they'll tell you the number. Space Marines, 4.5 million. Hal World, 25 million. Helldivers, 18 million. Right? Black Myth Wukong, 18 million, 20 million. What is the sales numbers? I'm not going to agree with you that it's a flop, but I'm also not going to agree to tell you that's a success because no one knows the actual numbers. Games are selling exceptionally well for only being on one platform. These are false. These are false. You're saying something is exceptionally well. Meanwhile, every studio that makes these games that are selling well are now moving over to all parties because it's not selling enough. So your statement is negated by the actual people of Square Enix, Ubisoft, and all these other companies that are making these games going, we're not making enough money. We got to put it on day and date on other platforms. If that's on PC, if that's on Xbox. If they were making exorbitant amount of money and they're happy with it because of the sales, then why is Final Fantasy 16 coming to Xbox? Why is Final Fantasy coming to Xbox? Why is Final Fantasy Online coming to Xbox if it's making all the money? You do know Spider-Man 2018 has still outsold all the other games in the first week or whatever. Spider-Man 2 didn't sell as well. It didn't sell as well. Didn't even come close. I think Miles Morales sold more. Launched October 20th, the PlayStation 5 exclusive Marvel Spider-Man 2 generated 2.5 million units upon release. After 6 months on the market, lifetime unit sales of the game amounted to 11 million, making the action-adventure title one of the biggest PlayStation 5 exclusives ever. Yeah. Spider-Man 1 sold that many units in the first, month. Less people are buying it. Right? If Spider-Man 2 was selling so well, it wouldn't have came. Why is it coming 8 months earlier to PC? If it was selling so well, why are they pushing it on PC 8 months earlier? Remind you that PlayStation games were never going to come to PC just 4 years ago. Right, it doesn't make sense. If they were doing good, then they wouldn't go to more platforms. Because they would keep it in their ecosystem. Because those games are selling consoles. But it's not. There's a saturation point. Hence why they got to put it out to other players. Clip says only if there's owned by EA Play Pro. Yeah. It's not owned by the EA Play. Dragon Age Origins will probably be out there, or Origins. I keep saying Origins. Dragon Age Veilguard will probably be there 3 months, 4 months afterwards. They don't put day and date on EA unless it's the Madden stuff like that. He says, like Ratchet and Clank. Yes, it sold so well that PlayStation, but because of the groundbreaking technology, they thought they would share it with the PC market. Right. Like, I understand where you're coming from, Chris. Right? It sounds like you have a bias towards Sony. I have no bias. I'm telling you facts on what the industry is and what's happening in the industry. I have no, because I play on Xbox doesn't mean I love Xbox. Okay? I play games everywhere. And I talk about it in a non-biased way. I just tell you about the things I've read on stream. You can go back to any of my videos and watch me talk about this stuff. Okay? It sounds like you're a fanboy. And I don't mean that in a bad way, mind you. That you lean more towards PlayStation. So you defend PlayStation a little bit more. But think about what you're saying. If these games were successful, then why would they move it to PC? If these games were successful, then why would companies that work with them not sign contracts with them anymore and move to other platforms? If the 60 million people that were buying PlayStation was big enough, then why are these companies not signing contracts with them anymore and putting it out everywhere? One doesn't make sense to the other. See what I'm saying? It makes no sense to say that this game was above expectations, and yet they're like, oh, well, they're moving it over to a third-party site. "30's a non-console, non-binary." Oh, my. I feel like I'm going to get that Captain America chair and sit here. Let me tell you. Let me lecture you for the next... Like, all I do is read the news and tell you what the news is, and based on their knowledge of the news and the articles and the things that we have and the stats and the charts. Hey, the clip says, I mean, look, Pearl Abyss, Sony offered them money, and they refused it because they know they won't make as much money with Pearl Abyss, definitely a smaller company, right? They could have been exclusive for 1 year on PlayStation, right? 60 million, 2-to-1, 3-to-1, whatever, they're above Xbox. But they went, no, we rather go everywhere. If PlayStation, right? The industry knows something that we don't. Okay? If the industry didn't know what we didn't, then they would happily come and stay on PlayStation and PlayStation only. But that's not what's happening. The industry is saying, no, we're pushing it over here. Ubisoft is now putting day and date on Steam. They're everywhere. Square Enix is putting their games on Xbox day and date now, going forward, right? None of these people are signing contracts anymore with just one console. We don't know the future. The new leaders and change things up and seem different. Square is never happy with the sales of their games and knows the fact, the joke about Square. Listen, I don't know the future, but I can read articles and tell you that the industry is changing. They're not staying with the one company anymore because they want to make more money. At the end of the day, businesses want to make more money. And the only way they make more money is they have to give themselves the best opportunity to do that. And sitting with one platform, even at the 60 million units, even if they sell 122 million units at the end life cycle of this console, that's only 122 million things. Most games are trying to be as broad as possible to get out as many people as possible. Look at these games that are coming out. Gamers hate them because they're not games. They're not hard. They're just broad. It's meant for everybody. Okay? And a game meant for nobody, right? Or for everybody is a game for nobody. Because the people that want to play these games is the hardcore people. And when they only get 3 million people, they're like, not enough. Not enough. So you could sit here and be like, nope, 30, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. PlayStation's fantastic. By all means, sip the tea, buddy. Because the industry tells us what's happening. And the industry is telling me that nobody's signing exclusive deals. Not even the people, even Xbox with their exclusive deals is like, no, Indiana Jones is coming out here, but we need to make money, so we're going to put it on PlayStation 2 months later, 3 months later, whatever it is. We're making money over here, but we're going to put it on PlayStation because we want to make more money. Square Enix wants to make more money. Ubisoft wants to make more money. Sony wants to make more money. If they didn't, they wouldn't be taking their games and putting it on mobile devices. They wouldn't be taking their games and putting it on PC. They wouldn't be taking their games and putting them other places. Come on, man. Read the room. Not this room. The industry room. If you're a company starting off, you're a developer right now, right? You're a company right now. You want to try to make as much money as possible within your means of your team. Are you going to just put it on Xbox for 30 million, right? What do you sell? Let's say 10%, right? You get 10% sales from just 30 million. Okay, well, take that same 10% and now put it on PlayStation for 60 million. That's more sales. But let's take that same 10% and put it on PC. That's 1.7 billion. And 10% of that, which is 10 times more than anything that you're going to put on console. Jones says, I might stop buying games on console. I mean, if you're on Xbox, people have already stopped. 35 million people have stopped buying games on console. Pearl Business statement was more about publishing than being exclusive. No, bro. They gave them money and they said they were happy with the deal. But they wanted to put their own thing out because they get more money in the long run. How do you not see that? They said that Sony offered them a really good deal. And they went, no, we're going to do it ourselves. Why? Just because they feel like they can? No, because they want to make more money. I don't understand how you don't see this. Businesses are here for money, man. They're not here for, oh, well, Sony fans got an exclusive. No, they're all like, we want the best possibility. Especially in this landscape of gaming right now, right? Games could come out, and this game could absolutely bomb, right? Pearl Abyss comes out with their game. Crimson Desert comes out. It sells 3.1 million across all platforms. That's devastating. They'll be like, well, there goes that. We had this amount of money. We needed to sell 5 million copies across all platforms. Okay? They only sell 3 across all platforms. Devastating. Devastated. They're done, even with the 3 million copies. Okay? But their best opportunity to get that 5 million units is to put it everywhere. PS5 blows says, ponies hate facts. They'll never convince them. It's all about the console sales to them. It doesn't make any sense. Getting tired of paying to play online. Yeah, Xbox is like covered it up, right? Because they just throw Xbox Live into the Game Pass thing, and then you're getting the game day one, and you're paying for online, but you're getting games like next month. Was it 2 games? Stalker 2, big games. Stalker 2 and Microsoft Flight Sim, right? And then December you get Indiana Jones, and I forget what else comes out. Right? If you to buy those 2 games, right? To go buy Microsoft Flight Sim and to go buy Stalker 2, that's $140, right? Or you could pay $20, right? It's the exact same thing as Ubisoft Plus, right? Pay $70 for Outlaws or pay $18. If Xbox players don't make more money than what PlayStation offered, then I bet that they make a deal next time. Deals are also good. Stalker 2 devs got a major support from Xbox as other developers and exclusive deals. There's a difference between starting a game from the ground up and asking for money from a studio, which both studios do. PlayStation helped No Man's Sky or Hello Games, and Xbox helped Stalker 2. Okay? To the difference of game is being made, and then someone saying, hey, we're going to give you money for exclusive deal for 1 year, as they tried with with Hogwarts Legacy, what they tried with Starfield, what they've done with Deathloop, what they did for Ghostwire Tokyo. There's a complete difference than helping people from the ground up and putting money out there to stop your competition. It's anti-consumer, it's anti-competition. When you take a company, give them the money to stop it coming on another platform when it's not yours. Third party, second party, whatever it is. There's a complete difference, okay, than helping a studio out from the ground up saying, hey, we would like to make this game. We're looking to make money. Spider-Man did that with Insomniac, right? They approached Microsoft, and Microsoft said, no, we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. So they went to Sony, and Sony said, okay, we'll do that. And it was easier for them because they owned the rights to Spider-Man in the film market. So Sony was like, yeah, let's sign a deal where we can do it with Insomniac, right? We might as well just own them, right? And then they helped them, but it was already being made. They helped them make it, and then they bought them. Unless you want all the planes, then it's $199 for Microsoft. Well, there's a couple deals, right? There's Game Pass, right? Then there's the deluxe edition, which is like $90. Then there's another one for like $130, and then what the one you're talking about is $199. He says, F the rest. Doki V will rule them all. Bye, Nintendo. This is me not shit-talking Sony. This is me talking about the game industry and how game companies want to make more money. Sony wants to make more money. Microsoft wants to make more money. Ubisoft, EA, all of these guys want to make more money. And the best possibility is putting it everywhere. That's it. Where you want to play, play. I'm not going to stop you from buying a PlayStation or buying an Xbox or buying a PC or a Nintendo. Play where you want to play. Just know that that's what's happening in the industry. Those planes are still cheaper than the Starship of Star Citizen. Oh, yeah. They put a $48,000 airplane. Microsoft, I better be able to go to the fucking airport and gas it up myself. They better give me a fucking gas tank for $48,000 if it's an airplane and Microsoft flight. I bought this plane on Microsoft Flight Sim. Could deliver it to the airport. All right, we're gonna move on to the last one, which is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has good news for Xbox Series S owners. You guys like what I do here? We talk about video game news, entertainment news. We go down rabbit holes. We give you entertainment for 2 hours. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, become a member as little as $5. So Indiana Jones and the Circle has good news for Xbox Series S owners. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle creative director, Axel, has stated that the game is designed to run 60 frames per second on both Xbox Series X and S. Discussing the game's technical performances, the creative director of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle promised to share more details, and the release date gets closer. Developer Machine Games' partnership with Lucasfilm, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, brings a fresh adventure of Indiana Jones with the first-person perspective and takes players to a place like the ancient sites of Asia. Instead of focusing mainly on the combat, the game will emphasize exploration, solving puzzles, and using stealth. You mean like Indiana Jones, which then Uncharted and Tomb Raider did the exact same things because it was based off of Indiana Jones, but now Indiana Jones is copying them, right? Additionally, a special edition of Indiana Jones The Great Circle offers early access and includes collectibles like the replica of the All-Maker relic. In an interview with Windows Central, Axel says that the game runs at 60 frames per second on the Xbox Series X and Series S. The performance goal ensures the players on the Series S won't get downgraded experience, which is something many Xbox users have come to expect. Now, Axel also added that the more technical details with the revealed as December 9th release date approaches. The team's main focus delivering a visual, consistent, high-quality experience on all platforms. The director also mentioned that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has been created to capture the feeling of the original movies, which we did notice when we watched that footage on Tuesday morning. We watched it. I said, man, it feels like they made this game and they filmed it in the 80s when they filmed the original movies, right? It feels that way. The way he throws the bottles and does the punches, it feels like the movie brought to life within the video game, right? So it says, Axel also promised Indiana Jones The Great Circle would also blend puzzles, action, and storytelling elements. Machine Games is focused on giving the game a roller coaster feel, gradually introducing new mechanics as players explore different locations. Axel also highlighted the game's core is built around the three key elements: gameplay, pacing, and art. Each also has been carefully crafted to deliver the classic Indiana Jones thrill, also introducing new mechanics that fit today's gaming standards. Okay, Axel explained that this game that makes Indiana Jones: A Great Circle feel authentic. The team looked at the archive materials, like the rare photos and concept art from the original movies, and the game's environments and design to pull players right into Indy's familiar world, staying true to the classic feel rather than reinventing it. I can't tell you how important this is if they stick to it. Okay, this is always what we ask for. Let me highlight it. Okay, let me highlight it and make it nice and big for everybody. Okay, staying true to the classic feel rather than reinventing it. Okay, this is all we ask for. We don't care that certain things are in the game, but if you tell me you're bringing an Indiana Jones game and all of a sudden Indiana Jones is a girl, and it doesn't feel like Indiana Jones because now it's more action-packed type of stuff, we're like, what are you doing? Why didn't you just make a separate game? Why did you make an Indiana Jones game? But this is staying true to the classic feel rather than creating it over again, right? And that's huge. So, look, we saw the footage the other day. I thought it looked pretty good. I thought it felt like Indiana Jones. Again, is the game, would it be a buy? And the way I look at this is, I played RoboCop last year, okay? RoboCop was, I think, $40, if I'm not mistaken. It might have been it wasn't a full price game, right? I played RoboCop last year, and I thought RoboCop was fantastic for what it was. That's about where my expectations are, personally, for Indiana Jones. If Indiana Jones can do what RoboCop did and capture RoboCop in a RoboCop game, then I think it's a huge win. And what I saw of Indiana Jones, The Great Circle, okay, it seemed like it was right up that alley, okay, where I would pay about $40 to $50 for this game if I paid full price for it. Obviously, it's on Game Pass, so I'm not going to pay for it at all. But I wouldn't pay $70, I don't think, for a game like this, because I don't feel it's worth that much because of what type of game it is. But I would pay $50 straight up, no problem, and then, throw it in my lineup, because it's hitting all the nostalgia for me personally, right? As a 46-year-old growing up with Indiana Jones in my life, with Harrison Ford, that is, like, they've captured it, what it seems like. Right, but these are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comment section down below. What do you think of Indiana Jones? Is it something that you're interested in, waiting for it on PlayStation down in February, or if you're getting it on Xbox day one, or if you're getting early access? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let me know in the live chat. Please make sure you share, like, subscribe, and if you like what I do here, check out some of our other videos. Thanks for watching. Right, Dolphin? They didn't change Indy to a black woman. Yeah. Like, that's all we ever ask for. If you're going to make a video game or a show or a movie and you call it this, then make sure you deliver this instead of changing it for modern audience, right? You could do modern stories and whatnot, but Indiana Jones is a timepiece, right? It takes place further back, but it looks like it's filmed in the 80s, but it takes place back in the 40s. You know what I mean? Like, Robert Jones says, the fact that they have to advise it runs on 60 frames per second on the S, right? Well, they would get shit on, right? Here's what I take a look at. It's never been said out loud that the reason all these games are not making it, right? It's never been officially announced by Xbox saying that the S is the problem. Well, this takes more evidence away from that, saying that, look, the S can run 60 frames per second. The S can do this stuff. This is the reason they didn't put it as an S, but now it can run on the S's, and they're putting it out at 60 frames, right? So it gives less credibility of why people think the games are not running at it because of the S. Well, now it's running on the S and the X at 60 frames per second. And if that's true, then why couldn't they do this sooner, right? Why were people putting games out where they couldn't optimize it to that? Altern says it'll probably run 240p, but it's 60 frames. It'll probably do 1080. It'll probably do 1080 at 60. I think it's going to do 720 at 60. Maybe these devs can advise how they did it for other studios. That's true as well, right? See that, right? You guys trying to make it? Well, go talk to Machine Games. They did it, right? And obviously, this is not a game that's like, I don't think it's gonna be like 20 hours of gameplay, like story. It's also not a super open world. You know what I mean? It's pretty much very linear in what it is. Eclipse says, I'm looking forward to this. It reminds me of the Chronicles of Riddick games. I love those games. So good. I feel like it looks good. I feel like it feels like a good game. Titan says, if it's consistent 60 frames, another question. What about the resolution of the Series S? Hey, look. You can't eat your cake, right? You can't have your cake and eat it too. You ask for 60 frames, they give you the 60 frames, but now let the resolution's a little weird, right? What are you gonna do? If you don't want to play on the S, then go buy it on something else. Most people on the S are not gonna give a shit. I'll just be honest. They're not gonna care. You would think that most people that bought the S weren't going, oh, well, I want to play 60 frames per second at 4K. There's like, I'm broke. I'm gonna pick this up because it's the cheapest console and I get to play games. I mean, let's be honest, right? My son never cares about frames per second. You know why? Because he doesn't know about frames per second. If he ever comes up to me and says, something's weird about this game, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, he sees something, but he doesn't know what it is. So once he learns what it is, then I'm going to have what chat is. Right? He's going to be like, I don't play games anywhere under 60 frames per second, Dad. Well, actually, son of a bitch. There goes my son. That's when my kid is not a kid anymore. He becomes a grunging old man. Grunging? I can't say the word fucking. Most S users are playing COD and sports. Yeah, they don't. Robert Jones like, that's when you tell him to get a job, right? If you don't like it, then get a goddamn job. What? That's not believable, Nate. There's no way you own an S and a PlayStation 5. You're like a unicorn. There's no way. That doesn't matter, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, you play games where you want to play. You play games where you want to play. Dark Taco says, COD runs great on the S. I've heard. Is it I've heard or I've heard? Is that what you've been playing? Have you been playing the entire time on the Series S? Hilly says, my kids love the Series S. Are they playing Call of Duty, Hilly? You might want to make sure they weren't playing with Dolphin. Make sure they're not playing Call of Duty. They could be in the same room as Dolphin. So I played yesterday when I was gone. Tuesday night, Wednesday, I played Starfield. I played I played Starfield on the cloud. What other game did I play on the cloud? I can't remember. I played 2 or 3 games on the cloud, and I was sitting there going, one of the games was it took a long time to cloud sync for Starfield. Oh, I played Fallout 76, right? And I played on the cloud. Fallout 76 ran flawless. Starfield was a little bit, took a long to sync up, but overall it was a good experience. And then there was one more game I played, and I can't think of. Oh, I played Brotato, which was flawless. And to think about it, like when I was sitting there going, people don't understand, man. Like just a couple years ago, you couldn't do it. And now I'm playing like these large games on my phone with the backbone through the cloud. Well, those that are really going to hate Dark Taco, not only was I enjoying cloud gaming, but I also was eating pineapple pizza when I was doing it. That's false. I lied to you. I didn't have pizza. I didn't have pizza, but it would have made a good story. Yeah, Brotato's fun. Brotato's a fun game. Well, Kuda Papa, you can join. You can join Allturn. Allturn already left, but yet he's still here. You can be part of the Waterbug crew, okay? Waterbug crew. Oh no, I'd never eat while I'm playing video games. And Dark Taco says, if you don't like pineapple in pizza, on pizza, never had it in it. On pizza, you're a sinner. Look at all you sinners out there. Here's a real question, chat. You eat pizza, fork and knife, flat, folded, or upside down? There's no judging here. I just want to know how you eat it. There's a couple scenarios. Okay. I can't do upside down. My son does it. Drives me fucking nuts. It drives me nuts. Rabbit hole. We're going down a rabbit hole. We need a rabbit hole. Okay. Flat has to be a certain type of pizza. If it's crispy enough, it stays flat. Okay. If it's saggy, you gotta fold it. Okay. And if you're starving and it's scorching effing hot when it comes out of the oven, you're like at a restaurant and you want to like eat it, but you can't. You're just sitting there. You gotta take a fork and knife. You don't mean upside down, you mean backwards? No, backwards would be crust side first. So he takes like the cheese part and flips it like this and eats it so the cheese is hitting his tongue instead of the cheese up on the roof of the mouth. Dark Taco says, my buddy in Quebec says the only eats pizza with a fork and knife. Uncivilized. You would think it's civilized. It's uncivilized. Yeah, the only way I eat with a fork and knife is I'm starving, and it comes out of the thing, and the cheese is like, it's still boiling. You know what I mean? You can't touch it with your hands. It's impossible. Altered's like, are we talking about pizza or what? Because I'm hearing backwards, upside down from one side. Oh, man. I blame parenting for that, Mike. See, I can do it for any topic. Any topic. So take him to the doctor. There's something wrong with him. He says it tastes better. He says it tastes better. And I'm trying to think about it because when you eat pizza, the bread's at the bottom. And when you eat it, your roof of your mouth gets burnt. Well, he didn't want his mouth to get burnt. So he flips it upside down and then he eats it with his tongue and it tastes better because his taste buds are on the cheese. You know, what can I tell you? Hilly says, this is weird timing, but I just finished cooking my kiddo's pizza for dinner. Just sit there and stare at him like this. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing? Nothing. Why is Dad staring at us? Taking notes. He's like, son of a bitch. I'm going to put it upside down. He's eating the cheese first. I mean, he isn't wrong, but he ain't right. I mean, I can tell you he's not right, but I still think it's funny. He justified it pretty well. Tell your son he can't become a man until he loses the roof of his mouth, skin to the hot cheese. He did. He did. That's why he turns it upside down now. Do you see what I'm saying? He doesn't want to burn the roof of his mouth anymore. So he turns it upside down. He might be onto something. I fundamentally can't do it. I can't. You know why? Because I eat pizza with a lot of toppings and shit on it. And if I turn it upside down, it's not going to be on the pizza. Bro's 40 now. Yeah, he's 10 years old, going on to 60. You know how he is, Sarge. You know how he is. Just picture him saying it. Roadkill says, I burn my mouth every time, peeling the skin off by the time I'm done eating pizza. Just saying. He figured this out by like 8. At 8 years old, he burnt his mouth and was like, he didn't like it, so he turned his pizza upside down. What if the hot cheese falls and burns his face? I guess that's less painful. I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I promise, Chad. I will the next time. God, this is gonna hurt. I'll be honest. My brain doesn't work this way. Like maybe I'll just have a slice of cheese pizza and I'll flip it upside down. You guys have Matchbox pizza? I don't know what the fuck that is. Matchbox pizza? What is that? Is that a name of a place or a type of pizza? Imagine, Taco, that when you eat the pizza today, you're going to eat it. And all of a sudden, pizza's going to change your mind. It's going to be like one of those, like in a movie when someone happens and all of a sudden it goes, and it like zooms out, like the universe is like going past your head. All of a sudden, it changed your whole reality because you ate pizza with cheese in your tongue first. You'd be like, oh my God, this is amazing. Or it could completely fuck it up. And you never want to eat pizza again. Just saying. There's a small chance. There's a small chance. Yeah, your mind's just... You're gonna start tearing. You're gonna go through the stages. You're gonna go through the stages. You're gonna start remembering like your childhood when you burnt your first mouth of your roof. It's gonna all come back to you, rushing in. And then you're just gonna take another bite. You're gonna take another bite of the upside down pizza, and then you'd be like, I can't believe it. A 10-year-old figured this out. It's like one of those. It's one of those videos you see online. You ever see that guy who figures out stuff and he's like, like no way. Like that's what's gonna happen to you. And on that note, we're gonna end the morning show. I appreciate everyone coming out, hanging out with us. If you like it, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you didn't like it, hit that dislike button. Other than that, I'll see you guys tonight for a Generation X Gaming podcast. Podcast goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Might start a little late because I gotta go trick or treating. So, other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.